It's Over the Pond with Fraser and John. Quack.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've got a few updates today, things to talk about with you guys. I came to John the other week with not an idea, but I was like, we obviously don't post on this as much as we'd like to. And I feel like a lot of that comes from we're both busy, but also we're just speaking about this just now. It's like we speak about only things we speak about on our channel on this podcast. And whilst that's like, if there's something like trending, it's good because, you know, the views are going to go up and stuff. But then you upload another episode and the views go down, which is normal. But it's like, I kind of want to start talking about like anything on our minds on this podcast. And I personally am like, okay for the views to be lower because I'd much rather have this to be a place where we can talk about our thoughts about anything. And we do, but it's like, I feel like the podcast is so adjacent to commentary and topics that are going on in the internet space. And I think it would just be nice to have a place where not only we can talk about things about like non-YouTube related stuff, but also our audience would come for that and maybe see another side to us, like get a different style of content from us. So we're going to still talk about YouTube stuff here and there. Like even today, I think we're going to touch on the Gabbie stuff, but like we're not going to force it every week. So like 1 week we might be talking about a YouTube thing, the next week we may not. And I just thought I'd give that little update because I'm much more relaxed and looking forward to that sort of process personally. But
I think it's like trying to avoid doing, I guess I can only speak for myself, but what I feel like, you know, with the main channels, it's like, you know, you're kind of trying to do what's trending, what's going to get you views. And it makes sense, right? If it's your job, which it is both of our jobs, right? So that's what you do on the main channel. But as far as like the podcast, I don't know. Like you said, we don't really make any money on it.
Yeah, so we don't get paid. Like
it's not like we're like, we need to get as many views as possible because it doesn't really matter. And so, I think it's just more chill to not be so stressed out. If something comes up like the Gabbie stuff, which I am interested because I saw that you had posted a video after our podcast, because you were saying, I don't know if I want to, and you were saying it's just keeps going. So I haven't seen the video, so I would love to maybe some updates and stuff. But it's nice to not be so stressed out about it. You know, trying to always have that YouTube thing that will be good for the thumbnail and good for SEO and yada, yada, yada. You know, it's like I do that enough in my other channel, you know.
Like, I really enjoy recording with you. And like, I think sometimes it's like, I almost get in my head of like, we need something for Sunday. We need to record, we need a topic or something like that. And it's like, I feel like it would be so much nicer to just not have that worry and be like, we have this place where we can just talk about anything. And I think it would be cool to, even if it's like 1,000 people each episode, you've got 1,000 views. It's still low, but it's like, if there was like a dedicated 1,000 people coming to each episode, I'd be more than happy than that. Like 1,000 to 10,000 people just coming to us and to what we want to talk about. I think that's personally for me a lot more enjoyable than having to force a YouTube topic like what's Amberlynn doing today, what's she doing next week, what's she doing. And like I enjoy talking about Amberlynn now and again, and Gabbie Hanna now and again, but I don't want to do it every single episode. Like that's for the main channel for sure. Like I'm not adding any changes to the main, but it's like if I also want to start doing a second channel, and I don't want that to just be like have 3 different places where I only do commentary as well as the second channel, you know?
Yeah, and it's like one of those things that I think maybe if you're not making content, it's hard to really understand, but it's so easy to want to just continuously chase the views and the numbers, you know? And yes, that because that's what comes with it, right? Is the money. But at a certain point, I think it's like you end up wanting to just talk about something that is interesting you at the time, right?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with, oh, how many views is this going to get, right? And like that's why like I think I've been enjoying the book stuff that I've been doing is just because it's just something that I am having fun with, and I feel very thankful that I've been able to, like you said, like have an audience on those videos as well as like Instagram and stuff, where it's just like so many people don't even know who Obese to Beast is, right? And like I kind of like that because it's just separated, because like for me, I've been Obese to Beast for 12 plus years now. And it gets to a point where it's just, that's become a big part of my identity. And it's not that I don't like that part of myself, but it's like, it is truly just one part of myself. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's become for a lot of people, like that's who I am. And I'm thankful that there are people that have found that version of me, right? But like there is more to me than that. And it's just been fun to have somewhere else, right, to post those other things and not have to worry about, oh, will this do well for the page? Is this stupid? Am I just ruining my, my optimization by posting book content on this plate? You know what I mean? So it's just been really nice to separate it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
100%. I think it's like the thing of like, even with me and this podcast, it's like I feel like people know me. Well, I do think people know a personal side of me, and I imagine they do for you too. But it's like I think the majority know me for like as inabber, as the guy that talks about YouTube stuff. But it's like I'd also, like I said a million times, I'd love to talk about video games. I'd love to talk about like books and stuff like that. I know, because I have personal interests outside of the YouTube stuff. And it's like, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to upload a video essay on my main channel about why I love Pokemon. But it's like, I'd like to talk about like a video game on here, or as I said, I'd like to do a video game essay on another channel, and like you're doing with your books right now. Like I think that's really inspiring and like just really admirable to see. And it's like, I think honestly, a big part of like why I've wanted to do this change with this podcast is seeing that like what you're doing with your books thing. I'll be like, well, John's showing like himself as John now, not just obese to beast. And I think we could definitely do that on the podcast as well. Of it's Fraser and John. Like I think like that. It's like obviously there's less of an audience there on. If I did like there's less people right now at least coming to the book stuff, but like you're building I don't know what the word is, a dedicated audience there, people that are directly coming for your opinions on things that you love. And it's like, I think that's like such a cool thing. And it's like, it's almost like building something new. And that, I think that's what I'm trying to say here with this channel. It's like, I'd like to build something newer than just the main, like, I know it's just a podcast and stuff like that, but it's like, I'd like, it would be cool to have like a new thing here. And it's
you don't want it to feel like this is the leftovers of the main channel, right?
Yeah.
Like this is its own thing. It's not the side dish that maybe you weren't able to put into the main video, right?
Exactly that. And I've seen Adam McIntyre recently started a travel channel, which is really annoying because I was meant to start a travel channel. Well, I have uploaded one video on it, but I was meant to upload on it like a lot more last year. I recorded 6 vlogs, each one having 2 hours of footage, and I've not edited any of it. And then I saw Adam McIntyre started a travel channel, and it's also like a personal channel where he uploads videos just talking about his own life and stuff. And it's like, I've really wanted to do that for a long time. And seeing him do it, he told me personally, it's like he's never felt like more connected to his audience because like he's got like 10,000 people each time coming to each video, and it's like they're like dedicated, and it's not like a parasocial thing, but it's like they're getting to know him, he's almost getting to know them. And I think that's really enjoyable. Like I'd love to do segments on this channel where like each week we answer questions and stuff like that. It'd be cool to have like weekly segments going through your book stuff, talking about our own fitness stuff, just like cool stuff like that. I think establishing a community, that's it, as you said, and not just a side dish.
Yeah. And I think part of it, like with what Adam seems that he was saying, obviously I don't know him, but it seems like when you're doing commentary videos, for myself, when I'm doing commentary videos, a lot of times the comments, because in my videos, I try to be as kind as I can. A lot of times the comments in my videos are not that kind. So I don't love reading them and responding to them because some of them are just, not all of them. I have a very, like, I would say I have one of the nicer comment sections in the commentary space, especially at least in my genre, right? Definitely not, it's not a regular commentary channel, but like in my genre, the weight loss kind of weight girl world space, it's more nice.
It's a brutal, not your community, but like I've seen channels that cover similar things to you, and some comment sections are like, even I, who can be quite outrageous at points, would be like, that's kind of out of order. Not in yours, but like I've seen other channels where they're a lot more brutal than you, and by essence, their community is a lot more brutal as well. And it's like, whoa, that's a lot. So I completely understand. Even to a minor, smaller version of that, it's like, I think with you reading the comments on your book channel, I imagine it's like every comment is like an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's just completely different. Like, and I know I'm definitely probably more sensitive than most people, so I just don't like to see comments of like, when I try my best to be measured and understanding, and the comments are just completely different. So you know, it's just different with the book channel and just that content. It's about the book and what I am saying, instead of a lot of times comment sections of commentary channels, from what I've seen, is it's less really a lot of times about the video that people are watching. It turns into a forum to talk about the thing the video is about. So a lot of times it's not even, the video is not really what the comments are about. Again, everyone's different. This is what I've noticed for myself. But with this, you know, the book channel and stuff like that, it's about what is being talked about in the video, you know, so it's much easier to go into the comments and reply, because it's not like, wait, why are we talking about this thing here? You know,
it's like, say if you miss something, like if you do like a video about a topic and you miss like a set of thing, it's like, you get like a lot of comments like that, and that's fine, but it's like, you would never get that in a video about your opinion on a book. Like no one's gonna be like, well, you forgot about this about your own opinions. Like, that'd be weird. That, like, I'm sure there's gonna be maybe negative comment here and there, but it's like, overall it's gonna be like a nice experience. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy my community and comments, but it's like, as you just said, it would be nice to have like a community from my own community, from that, but talking about like our own interests and stuff like that, because it's like, obviously my comment section is going to be about the person I'm talking about, because that's why they've come to the video. But it's like, I also would like to have my own space, and I think this year that's kind of what I want to build. Like, I don't have a goal on my main channel of like, oh, I want to hit 2 million subs. I'm very content with where I am at my main channel. Sometimes the views are good, sometimes the views aren't good, and it's like, I've done YouTube on that channel for about 8 years now, maybe even longer. Coming up to, actually no, this year will be my 10th year doing it. So I'm very content with where I am on that main channel. It sounds sad, but I personally just don't have the goal of like, oh, 2 million subs. I just want to get good videos out, and I want them to be consistent. But one thing I've neglected, and I actually used to be quite good at in 2019, 2020, I was very good at community building. I had a good community. I don't really have that anymore. I have like commenters that I recognize. I have people that I reply to and I recognize, but it's not like tight knit. So I would love to build a tight knit community, not parasocial, but it's like a place where people can come for both of us and enjoy us just for us. And I think that for me, I've not even really thought about it personally, but I think that that'd be a good goal to set for the, crazy to say, next 9 months of the year, because we're already 3 months into the year.
It's crazy that February is over already.
Yeah,
I'm glad that it's over though. Thank God. Let's move on. I am ready to get into spring, okay? Because like we were saying, we had I live in the Northeast, okay? And we had a blizzard that dropped over 3 feet of snow where I live. It is the most snow they have ever had recorded ever, like 1 day snowfall. It's been miserable this last week, and we're finally getting back to normal. You can drive on the roads, but I'm just ready. I'm ready to move on. Spring cannot come close enough. I have not seen grass in so long. Okay. It's been months since I've seen grass.
So can only imagine the idea of not seeing just ground, or even ground, just white, like sleet and snow and just shit, pretty much. Like I imagine like the only color you don't see that's white is like the brown of the snow going brown because of like the mud and the dirt and stuff like that. Horrible. It's the worst type of snow, because like whenever anyone imagines snow, they think of like almost like a Hallmark movie of like, oh, it's like out, everyone's in the snow, Christmas shopping and stuff like that, very romantic. And then it's like, no, that's like that for about 30 minutes, and then it's fucking horrible. Like nobody above the age of like 23 actually likes snow. Anyone with like a life and a career, no one likes snow. I'm sorry. Unless it's like you're on holiday, as I was saying to you before, I'm going to Norway. I'm sure that's going to be very like the romantic idea of what snow is for like for the time I'm there, because I'm only there for 4 days. Probably by the end of it, I'll be like swearing and stuff, like so fucking slippery and stuff like that. But like overall, I'd enjoy it. The idea of living in that, fuck no, I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with that. And I have zero like envy for the experience that you've been dealing.
Yeah, it's been intense, man. Like I don't mind it too much, but it's just, especially this, it's more infrastructure. Like the place I live, it snows every year. It's very, very common, right? I live in New England. It's just the amount. So it was the amount basically broke the infrastructure. The streets weren't plowed for days. We had to dig it out ourselves. Our entire street, we had to dig out with hand shovels. Like it was gnarly. And so like that has been like, okay, enough. The amount of snow that we've had this year, it's like, okay, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on to seeing flowers. I would like to see some flowers, please.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can only imagine, man. And it's like it just stops everyone's life for a month, doesn't it? Like I've never experienced something like that, but I've seen the videos on social media. I've seen like New York, and you're in New England, so
Yeah.
is that far from New York? It's not that
It's
far,
not
right?
too far. But like just to give you an example, they canceled school all last week. There was
Really?
no school all last week because it was impossible to get kids to school because of the streets. Like it was gnarly here. It was
What
crazy.
what I find really funny is like when I was a kid, school would get cancelled so often when it snowed, and it would be like this amount of snow. They
Yeah.
would genuinely cancel. But to be fair, I think Americans, like you guys, usually have quite big cars. I feel not everyone, but like
Mhm.
in the UK, especially growing up, everyone had like small little hatchback cars.
Yeah.
No one had 4x4s. Nowadays, more people do because
Mhm.
we've become quite Americanized. But like most people back then would have a very small cars. So, like they would just shut school if there was like a bit of ice, which is kind of crazy to think back on. And when you were a kid, how we'd learn, I don't know if it was the same for you, but like we'd listen to the radios at like 7 a.m.
Mhm.
And they'd give like announcements to the schools closed. And because there's like 8 schools in the town, they'd like read like the names and you'd be like waiting for your school to be cancelled.
Mhm.
And there's times of where like you hear all the other schools are cancelled and then your one is the only one open. And it's like fucking worst moment
Yeah,
imaginable
yeah.
as like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I've never had a snow day from school, but,
Really?
because I grew up in San Diego, right? And
Oh
it was
yeah.
it's a desert there, literally about as opposite weather as you can get in in the contiguous United States, I guess. And so we would have heat days. So if it would get over like 100 degrees, because a lot of the schools that like where I grew up, a lot of them were kind of like older, and so some of the classrooms didn't have AC, air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so if it got over a certain degree level, because those few classrooms didn't have AC, they would just shut school down. And so that's all that we would get. And heat days, you'd think that'd be cool, but if it's that hot, like you don't want to go outside. You just stay inside. Like it's just boring, you know. It's just like
Mm.
super hot outside. But that's my experience with like getting school off. It was just heat days, and those were very very rare. And again, it was like miserable because it was so hot that literally they you didn't even want to go outside. So it was like, man.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever dealt with that experience. It's like you've dealt with like the two polar opposites in your life. You've now dealt with like
Yeah.
the winter version of hell, and now you've had the summer versions as well. Where would you say? Because you were in New England last, like you've been there for like over a year now. So
Yeah.
what would you say is better, like the summer in New England or the summer, or let's say spring actually, spring in New England or spring in where you used to live?
That's tough, man. I think like the part that makes spring here so beautiful is how brutal winter is. It's like you appreciate it so much more. That's something that I always said growing up in San Diego is like you get so used to good weather that you don't even really appreciate it anymore. It's just normal. And that might sound like the most ridiculous like complaint, but that's like one thing I always wished was like I wish there was like seasons here, right, in San Diego, like because it was always just sunny for the most part, and then winter it got a little cold, but not even that bad, Like my family was messaging me, they're like, "Oh man, it's so hot today. It's in the 80s," and I was just like, "Shut up, dude. I don't want to hear it." Like, and so I think like the spring here is so beautiful. Like I think here the transitionary um like seasons are much more beautiful. So spring and fall here are much more beautiful. I would say winter and summer are is better over there, just because it's like the winter, it's pretty chill and like you can kind of do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about it. Summer it definitely gets pretty hot, but that's kind of it's a destination spot. A lot of people go to San Diego in summer to visit, right? So it's definitely a nice place to be because summer here is like winter is very dry and cold, and then summer here is very hot and humid. And it's like right now I had to buy a humidifier for our house because it was so dry in the house.
Really?
Like it was because like you have the heat on all the time, and it's like old school heat where it's just a radiator that's just like blowing super hot dry air into the house. So I bought a humidifier because yeah, but it's going to be the opposite problem in winter or in summer. It's like super humid and you're just like sticky and sweaty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's like in the UK, there's kind of like a bit of a debate now of like do we need to start installing AC units into our homes? Because obviously in the UK, we don't have that. I think in a lot of places in Europe, like in Spain, for example, a lot of like houses don't have an AC in them, despite how hot it is in Spain. And that's because like the houses are like built in certain ways. Like you can go to Spain, all the houses are like white, and that's because like, obviously white reflects sunlight better and stuff like that. And it's really weird, like how different we like deal with the heat compared to how Americans. I feel like Americans just do it so much better. You guys just hit the nail on the head. Have AC. It makes so much sense. Spain, they do a good job at it. Like it's weird being in Spain and you're in like 35 degrees, and then you go into a home which has no AC but is actually not that hot at all because of how it's built. But yeah, people in the UK are basically saying because of like climate change and how things are getting hotter. Like our summers are getting pretty hot. We kind of need AC. Luckily, I actually have AC in my flat because it's like not every flat has AC, but I'm in like one of the better ones in my building.
You're in the YouTuber suite.
Yeah, the YouTube pad. So I've got it in mind, and I feel very privileged to have that. Like the first flat I moved to in London, that had AC, and then I moved into a flat by myself, and that didn't have AC, and I was like, oh, bro, that was fucking awful. Not having AC in a flat that isn't designed. It's the I think the problem is in the UK is our buildings are designed to insulate heat and to bring in heat because traditionally it's not a hot country. So when these buildings were built 20, 30, 40 years ago, they would have cold winters and not that hot summers. So it would be like, to save money, we'll build it in a certain way. Whereas now, that's a fucking nightmare. Being in a flat that insulates heat in like 35 to 38 degree temperature was like hell on earth. Like it was like unbearable. And I remember when I had surgery and had like a week recovery time and I had to sit on the sofa for a week in like 38 degrees heat. It was like the worst experience of my life. I was playing Elden Ring during it though. That kind of distracted me. That was like the week it dropped, which was helpful. But yeah, it's wild how different it is here to where you are.
That is definitely one of the more, I mean, I think everything that I do is pretty American. I'm definitely a very American person, but like as far as like climate is concerned, when it comes to indoors, I am very American. Where it's like I'm turning the AC on and we're going to 68, baby. All right,
yeah, same, like, dude.
I want it to be as cold as possible, and you know, there's other places where it's just like, yeah, people don't really mind it as much. Nah, man,
I turn it on in the winter sometimes, dude. Like it's I love my AC. It's like the best thing ever invented. I don't care if it like puts up the bills a little bit. It's like AC is one of the greatest inventions of all time. And if there's anything, like if you buy a house in the UK and like or flat, my 100% advice would be get an AC installed immediately. Like it's like it's like just game changing. Like when I eventually get my own like house, I have to have an AC unit. It's like, oops, sorry.
Yeah, well,
cool.
Where I live now, AC was not a thing that was like installed in houses because like I live in New England, right? Like these places are relatively old compared to the rest of America, right? Not old compared to where you are, but like, you know, these buildings were built, I think some of them in like the 1800s. I think where I live was built maybe in the 1800s, maybe very early 1900s. And so they don't have AC. So we just have a bunch of window units that we have to put in each window. And like, because the, you know, the power grid was not really set up for that. So frequently during the summer, our all of our power just goes out because the ACs take too much power. So then I have to go down into the basement, have to mess with the breaker.
Is it like a spooky basement?
Dude, it's not fun to be down there. I hate going down there. It's so creepy. Ugh.
You mentioned like obviously it's not as old as the UK. I always find it insane how young the US is. Like I was like looking at some like list, very depressing list. It was like political leaders that have been assassinated in the last 200 years, and Abraham Lincoln is on that list. I did not realize he only died in like 1865. I was like, bro, that's like less than what, like 60 years before World War One. He was alive. I'm like, it's so crazy. Like, and then I googled. Trump's granddad or his grandma was born in like 1866. And I'm like, this guy's the president, and he's got a close relative that was born in the 1800s. It's like crazy how like young America is, especially considering how much they just fuck the world up every day. It's like insane. Mind you, we're not any better,
dude. It's it is something that I think about. I've thought about a couple times, like just the fact that, you know, it's about now it's like probably 350, I think, ish years old, since it was, you know, obviously it was around before that, like before it was like officially America, but it's weird to think that, you know, since 1776 basically, and that's really not that long ago on the grand scheme of history and stuff. It's crazy, and it's like one of those things that it's just weird because growing up as a kid, you know, in the school system that I went, you know, it was like America is the best, we're number one, we're the greatest. And it's just crazy to see that. One, I don't necessarily know how accurate that is, but it's just like, man, you see so many nations like rise and fall, and like you never
Yeah.
think that it's gonna. And it feels like I'm in like I'm like alive in the moment of America being at maybe its peak, and then now it's going down. I don't know for sure. We don't have to go into it, but it's
No,
something that
no,
I've thought
no,
about.
no,
I'm like, man,
100%.
that's weird to think about.
You guys have got another 150 years to beat the British Empire's level of like how long it lasted. We
Mhm.
lasted for 400 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know what the debate is of like what empire was like more better, the
Yeah.
American Empire or the British. I think the British Empire wins because we literally like dominated the entire planet. You could
Mhm.
argue America have kind of done the same, like in a different way, because like there's not a, like I feel like invading countries isn't a thing that really happens anymore unless you're
Mhm.
Russia. Like obviously, it's like it's more of a case of like you instead drone bomb
Yeah.
countries, like that's kind of the new thing. But I feel like America are like more dominant in the sense of like they definitely control the world. Like whereas the UK, when it was the British Empire, it was like a thing of like controlling the world by actually owning the countries. Whereas I feel almost like it's more impressive of America. Like obviously it's like bad. I'm not glorifying the British or American Empire, but I'm saying it in a sense of like in terms of like history and how it like it's I think it's like impressive that America do it in a way without even needing to take over a country. It's like if America had a country to do something 9 times out of 10, they're gonna do it. Actually,
Mhm.
funny enough, our prime minister and the president now are kind of in a little bit of beef because we didn't allow the US to use our air bases to bomb Iran. And yeah, it's kind of scary even thinking like I think the last time we spoke, this shit hadn't broken out, right?
No, it had not for sure.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, there's always something, man. This time it's World War Three.
Dude, I mean, yeah, I don't even with that stuff. It's like I just don't even. I I'm not surprised, but it's just like, dude, I just don't even. I don't. I really don't even know what's going on. It's like it's gotten to a point where I just like I'm not even really paying too much attention, which I know that
Nah,
might
nah,
upset
I
people,
get
but
that,
I'm
bro.
just like, dude, it's
What can we
always
do?
some every day. It's something else. It's this thing. It's that thing. It's like, and I'm just like, dude, I don't freaking know, man. I just don't even like.
Honestly, it's like I know it's like I know it's like the thing to like be informed about everything, but it's like bro, it comes to a point. It's like
Yeah.
I found myself the last few days like there's the meme of like monitoring the situation. I'm monitoring the situation 24/7. I'm scrolling on Twitter like what's going on now? What's going on now? I'm listening to political podcasts, and it's like none of this information has helped my brain in any way. Like
Yeah.
it's like, but I think the problem is it's like if everyone stopped listening, then like that's like when
Yeah.
bad things happen. But it's like it's
Yeah.
such like a difficult thing to deal with because I know saying I don't want to pay attention that riles feathers, and it's like I get why it does, but it's like I think it's all about balance. I think it's like we've spoken about this before in here, but it's about like knowing what's going on, having beliefs and understandings of it, but not letting it control your life. Because if you do that, you're gonna be fucking depressed.
Yeah.
You're gonna like honestly hate everything and almost see like things as pointless. It's like realistically, it's you could play a video game and be like, well, there's a war going on right now. I should be caring about that and focusing on that rather than playing a video game or reading a book. It's like that's not how to live life. But it's almost like if you let these things consume your life so much, and obviously we're in a place of privilege. I know that
Yeah. Yeah.
I like there's like a almost like a geopolitical lottery when you're born, and like thankfully I'm not in a place threatened, and that's a very privileged position to be in. But it's like sometimes I have to take advantage of that privilege.
Yeah. It is crazy, man, when you do think about it like that, how just unfair that
Oh
is.
yeah, it's awful.
How unbelievably unfair it is that just because of where someone was born, and this is like majority of the world, really,
Yeah.
right? maybe not, at least half, right? Because of where they were born, their life is significantly, I don't want to say it's worse, but it's significantly less stable. And that's just not fair, man. Like, it's something that I think about all the time. And it's one of those, it's one of those questions that, because I was like super Christian right at one point when I was younger. I mean, not one point, for most of my life, up until I was like 30, probably maybe 28. But that it never made sense. Like, why is it that because this person was born here, they have this absolutely terrible life? And then it's like, it goes into, sorry, this is getting philosophical, but it goes into that whole thing of like, because like for me, the Christianity that I believed in was, everyone that is told about Jesus and the fact that he, died for your sins, and if you believe in that and you take him into your heart, you will go to heaven, right? That's what I believed. And so their whole goal was to tell as many people that truth as possible. But they would also say, like, if you started asking, again, this is debated, right? But a lot of people believe that the people that have never been told about Jesus and the how he died for their sins, because they're ignorant, they will go to heaven, right? And so I've always been like, I mean, wouldn't it just be better to not tell anyone? Like, just because then you don't know, and what you don't know, you end up going to, I don't know, dude. But it's just like more about that, like, why is it? And then it goes into the whole question of, okay, so then it's just basically based on where you were born, you are more likely to go to heaven. Because if you're born in India, you're not going to be a Christian, most likely, right? But you're saying, because those people were born there, and everyone in their life, right, that they care about is of a different faith, there's the chances of them becoming Christian is basically zero. But they've probably heard of Christianity, right? At that point, they're just damned. I
because
don't
of
know.
what their
Sorry,
parents
this
told
has
them.
gotten.
No, it's like
But
definitely one of like my biggest questions of like, now firstly, if someone's listening to the podcast and they do follow a faith, like, I don't mean this in like an offensive way. I almost, if you want to let me know what your right thoughts on it, that'd be cool, because it's like, I've always thought of religion, it confuses me if it's like each religion in some sense, not every religion, but a lot of religions, primarily like the big three, are like, if you're a non-believer, that's almost like a problem, and some even condemn you to hell, or their version of what hell could be. I know in some religions hell doesn't. I don't think Judaism has hell, but it's like a lot of religions condemn non-believers, and it's like, I don't understand why a spiritual being that is as divine as a creator who made everything would condemn and punish his own creations for being born into a faith not the correct faith, and then almost being indoctrinated into that. What wrong has that child done by being told by their parents, this is the way of life, this is how we do things? It's like that child knows no different, especially in countries where there isn't as much free speech. There's religious indoctrination. Some countries have Sharia law where Islamic faith is the only thing. Some people live some people live in countries where it's just like there is a faith of that country, and it's like, why should those children, or not just children but innocent people, just be condemned to hell in the eyes of some because they're in the wrong location? And that's one thing I've always been confused about with religion. It's like, I've always said that I personally believe in like some higher being, but I've always kind of seen religion as like a form of control. Or maybe understanding back thousands of years ago. I think a lot of people, there were a lot of questions before they were answered by science, to what science can currently answer these questions to. And I think like things like lightning, or for like stuff like that, like things that couldn't be explained. It's like, what's the answer? It's a divine being. And that's kind of what I've always perceived a lot of religion to be. And obviously, I'm not trying to mean that as offensive. That's just my personal belief. Everyone has their own different beliefs, but that's always kind of how I felt. So now in the modern day, I do get confused by like people that are part of a faith that condemn others. It's even like what I spoke about of Gabbie Hanna recently. It's like she joins a certain religion, a certain form of Christianity, and now she's like condemning other people. She's coming after other people in the name of her faith. And it's like, well, hold on. You've just spent 35 years of your life doing everything wrong in your own now current new eyes. How do you now have the right to condemn someone for living in a separate faith that you also were living in previously? There's so many confusing contradictions. It's like, for one, we're condemning people that know better, and we're also condemning people despite you were once condemning them. It's like, it's a strange thing.
And my favorite is that someone in that position a lot of times will say, well, I am condemning you because I care. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't actually care about you. And it's like it's the argument that you've heard, time and time again with gay marriage, right? Oh, the reason I don't want gay people to get married is not because I'm a bigot, but it is because they will go to hell. And I don't want that. And so because I don't want that, we shouldn't allow this, right? It kind of ends up being that ends up being the argument every time. It's like, well, it's not what I want, it's what God wants, it's what the Bible says that you want. But the problem with that is that, I mean, there's a bazillion different translations of the Bible. There's a bazillion trillion different interpretations of how people think what this verse means and how this verse is supposed to be, contextualized. And it just ends up becoming, in my opinion, a way for people to use something, the Bible, which is known as, a lot of people in the world see it as a holy text, to use that power that it has to their own means, right? And we see it with the more extreme stuff of the Westboro Baptist Church that say, God hates F slur, and they'll stand out in front, you see that and you're like, oh, obviously that's wrong. But then you'll see something that's a little bit maybe not as conspicuous, and it's a little bit more under the it's a little bit more under the table. You don't really notice it as much, but it's basically the same thing, using this holy text, Bible, right, as a way for you to basically push your beliefs. And I don't know, that's what I've struggled with as I've gotten further and further away. Is I've realized that I feel that a lot of the people that I really did look up to when I was younger use the Bible for their own benefit. And
do you think? Sorry, go on.
No, you go. Yeah, I had nothing else to say, really.
I was going to say, from your experience, now I don't know, this is quite controversial to even give an answer to, but from where you grew up, do you think that the people, at least in your experience, were majority radical, or do you think it was only as a small section? Do you think a lot of people would use their faith as a way to justify hatred, or would you say it was just a small segment of people?
I think there's a small segment of people, but a lot of times those people are in power, right? So I think about when I was a kid, again, it's not how I believe what I think anymore, but this is how I was raised. There was in California, there was this Prop 8, which was about gay marriage, right? And I think it was, obviously one way or the other was yes on 8 or no on 8 meant gay marriage wasn't allowed. I forget which one it was, right? But that was a big proposition at the time. And at the time, the church that I was going to was very anti-gay marriage. They were not about it, right? And I realize now, looking back, holy crap, this is just so not separation of church and state type stuff. But at the time, I didn't think anything about it. I think I was in high school, maybe middle school when this was going on. But they would have politicians come on stage and talk about stuff, right? And I remember one of the biggest things that our preachers, whatever, the people that would be on stage would talk about is, the reason that we don't want this is, one, it's not godly, right? It spits in the face of marriage. But they also said another reason is because if gay people can get married, then they are going to come to our church and force our pastors to marry them. And then if they decide not to, those pastors can be put in jail. Okay. Do you know how many times that's happened? 0. You know what I mean? And that was at least from what I know, in California, because I think back now and I'm like, okay, why would a couple that is going through to get married, they're excited to do this, why would they be like, I'm going to use this as a way to get back at these? No, why would they ask someone that they know clearly doesn't agree with their decision? Why would they ask them to marry them? It just doesn't happen. It was so much stuff like that. And at the time, I used to think, yeah, it makes sense. I agree with that. And I, now I'm like, man, it's embarrassing, that I felt that way. But I just was like, well, these people are smarter than I am. And they, they're holy, they are pastors and they read the Bible. And so they obviously know what they're talking about. And so, like, to answer your question, I think that some of them were probably radical and some of them maybe genuinely felt like this is the right thing to do. Now I can, look back, and that same church that I was going to had a bunch of posts about Charlie Kirk when he passed away, and they were super sad about it. But then, all the other things that are going on in the world, zip, boop, didn't say anything about it, right? So I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Like, I saw posts from churches and stuff like that, like devastated about his assassination, but I haven't really seen any churches or many people really post about 150 children were like killed in the strikes yesterday in Iran. I haven't seen like many churches posting about. I'm sure some have, but it's like, it's interesting to see how his assassination and like the world outcry to that. I think a lot of people were a lot of churches were devastated because he was like a big link to Christianity and their personal radical beliefs. I think that's whereas like a regular person dying, it's like, well, it's just a regular person dying, isn't it? It's, and it's very interesting. And they'll argue, oh no, we care for all life and stuff like that. But it's interesting to see the difference in response to some, and obviously like if they cared about him and stuff like that. But it's like, as you said, all the other world issues they never talk on, but this other one thing that happened in the news, that's the biggest talking point for them. And it's like, I think for me, people will say like, why do you guys not speak about like Islam or like Judaism or any other religion? And it's like, this is just like, I only have experience with the Christian religion.
Exactly.
I'm not an expert in radical Islam, radical Judaism. Obviously, I think all forms of radicalism is bad. Like, yes, if somebody uses those forms of religions as a way to, like, and it exists, don't get me wrong, it literally exists in the worst possible way. And we see it in the news every single day. It's just, I don't have that experience. Like, I did not grow up in an Islamic household or a Jewish household. So I can't speak on that experience where I have family members and I have been brought up around Christianity. I have a particular family member who, very, very close family member at one point, they were indoctrinated at an older age into a certain offshoot of, I mean, I think it's technically Christianity. Hold on, let me Google it. Sorry. So yeah, I have a family member who became a Jehovah's Witness. That is technically apparently a form of Christianity.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen a more predatory religion than Jehovah's Witnesses. Like the stories I've been told about how Jehovah's Witnesses work, no, I'm sure there are some lovely ones. Like, in fairness, this family member, when they were in hospital and stuff like that, the church were absolutely loved it to her and catered to her and everything like that. But from what I've seen and from my own experience, it's like, as you mentioned, the people in power are so predatory. Like, they will say things that will be like, oh yeah, I need to be a part of this church. Like, I'm gonna like. And so I think it's like in Jehovah's Witness, they believe something like 70 that when the rapture happens, 70,000 people or something on those lines will go up to heaven, and then the rest will be condemned to the rapture. It's like, fuck me. This is being sold directly to old people, because that's another thing. We talk about the predatory aspect of religion, in particular Christianity, onto children. I think another unspoken thing is how it's put onto older people. I think the rate of like older people becoming religious is very, very high, because most of them are afraid of death, whether they want to admit it or not. And it's like, you have these people coming to you being like, you're going to go to fucking hell. And when you're like 20 or 30 or even like 16, 18, it's you don't really think about it, because you're like, well, that's in like 80 years time. I've got plenty of time to worry about that. But when you get to like 85 years old, it's like, I've not got long left. And it's like, you really start to probably think to yourself, even if you've not been religious your entire life, you start to think, well, there might be a possibility. And it's like, well, why should I not think about it? And then you get the predatory people coming in basically guilt tripping you into their religion or fear tripping you into their religion. And then on top of that, when you do die, there's a nice little signature that you've got on when you signed on to that church of you'll leave X amount to the church in your will. And that's something that I've noticed happen quite a lot. And again, I don't think it's spoken about enough. Like, yeah, children are indoctrinated very young, but also old people are weirdly also indoctrinated.
Yeah, this is a topic that is something that is really interesting to me. There was definitely a time when I was like, I went down quite a few rabbit holes of like, people that were ex Jehovah's Witnesses, ex Mormons, and like there's a lot of YouTube channels that make of people that were in those religions that make very interesting videos because with Jehovah's Witness and Mormonism and some of the other religions, they're a little bit more intense in as far as like the outward, like Jehovah's Witness, you see them, you can tell, oh, that's Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
and
you can
Mormons
tell,
as well.
right? But like with Christianity and like especially the Christianity that I was a part of, it was like non-denominational evangelical, where it was kind of like the Christianity that I was. And it was supposed to be, it's the more chill kind, and like, but what was insidious about it is that that's what the facade was. But then once you, like, if you got deeper, right? Because I was very involved. And so like I got pretty deep. I started to realize that facade was just a very thin veneer to get people to enter, right? It was so inviting and everyone's welcome and come on in. And then you go in and then you go deeper and you go deeper and you realize that while it never maybe gets to the level of like Jehovah's Witness or Mormonism, there's some crazy stuff. Like I highly recommend looking up some, like you yourself, if you want, like some of the stuff that happens, and especially the Mormon churches and stuff. It's pretty crazy. And Jehovah's Witness as well.
Yeah.
But like they have some crazy rituals, especially once you get deeper. So maybe it never gets to that level, but the psychological kind of, I don't want to say toll, but like the way it wires your brain, like there are things that I still struggle with, I'm sure, to this day because of how I was raised, right, in those churches. And like, I don't blame my family or anything like that. I think it was, my parents, my mom mainly was just trying to do the best that she could. But yeah, it was one of those things that was like very welcoming at the start. And I think especially like when you see a lot of times there's that joke that goes around now where, if there's like an adult that all of a sudden becomes really religious, it's like, what did they do? Like what did they do?
It's true though. If someone's in their like 40s and they become religious suddenly, I'm like, what's going on there, man? Like there's usually something going wrong.
Yeah, and so it's, for me, this has always been like, there was a time when I was like really, really interested. And I think it was when I was like not first, but when I was really grappling with just being like, yeah, I don't believe in God. I'm not Christian, right? That took me a long time to really kind of admit that to myself, I think, because it was like my identity for so long. And I think for a while I was almost like mad, and like, I guess I would get frustrated because people are like, oh, you're just upset. And like, you're just mad with how the church handled XYZ situation that you were in. And you're just mad. So like, eventually you'll get back. And that would frustrate me because especially now it's more just, I just don't believe that what the Bible says is true. Like, it's not that I'm mad about how pastor treated me. Cause that's a very common phrase you'll hear is church hurt, right? Because, oh, this church you were going to treated you bad. And then you always hear, well, the church isn't the people, it's God. And it's just like, dude, I guess so. But it was like, people will use that to almost like deflect any criticism you had, because it's like, oh, well, you're just mad about that church, what they did. Eventually you'll come back. But now it's like that anger, or it's not even really anger, but like hurt that I feel from how it was treated at times. I had plenty of great times as well. I'm not saying it was all terrible, but like the times when I felt hurt, yes, that hurt. But like now it's less about I'm mad at these people, what they did to me. It's more just like I've thought about it and I just don't believe that,
Yeah. Would you claim to be an atheist now then?
Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, I get some people are like, well, so you can prove that God's not real. It's like, okay, then I guess you could say as agnostic, I don't really know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's like, I don't know. I feel like that type of thinking is exactly what I'm trying to get away from. Because when I was Christian, it was, sorry, I'm getting frustrated, but like that was something that people would say to me, is that like, oh, you're just so full of yourself because you think God's not real. And it's like, no, the whole point is that I'm saying I don't know for sure. And so when I was like Christian, it was like, if you ask me, is God real? Of course, absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt. That is more like feeling like I know it all than just being like, I don't know. Because like the thing that's what I try to explain to people, right? Especially, I feel like most people kind of understand this, but someone that's like really deep in there is that they think, oh, you just think you know better than everyone. It's like, no, all I am saying is that like I believe in one less God than you do. Right? If you're a Christian, you believe all the other gods, they're all wrong, right? All those other religions are wrong, but yours is right. I'm not saying they're all wrong. I just don't think that any of them are all right either. I'm just like, I don't think anyone's got it right. I think everyone has their own version of what they believe is correct. And if like, I'm not one of those people that's like hateful. Like I've considered going to like a church service on like a Christmas just because it kind of be fun. Like it's not like I'm like, I hate it.
Last Christmas.
Yeah.
I didn't sing the hymns because I kind of feel a bit weird because I don't believe in them, but
I understand that.
Yeah. I in fairness, I went to midnight. I wouldn't usually go, but my girlfriend's family, and like there is a part of me when I was in there, I was like really trying to not like get pissed off in my mind about some of the things being said, because I was like, I know this is a lovely little community, but I like Googled the pastor and like some of the things they have fucking
you can't do that.
Dude, I know. I Googled this woman and some of the shit she says whilst like in front to our face, like she's saying all these lovely things about community and love and like being there for one another. Unless you're gay, unless you're fucking gay, bro,
and you're going to hell for eternity.
Yeah. Even then, it's like I also looking up like their stances and other things, and it's just like Jesus fucking Christ. It's like this is my problem with why I will never join a religion, because it's like I think religion can be a beautiful thing. Like even like in terms of like architecture, the buildings, the history, it's fascinating, and I think church and religions can be a wonderful sense of like of charity and like giving back to the community. And I think there's some genuinely really good people out there who are religious. And it's like some of the popes more recently have been genuinely great people. I think the previous, I don't know much about the new pope, but the previous pope, he did a lot. I think he really did. I'm pretty sure he was did a lot for gay marriage, supporting people in the church who were gay. He also was regularly speaking to the only church that was not destroyed at that point of time in Gaza. He was like a very good man, and I really appreciate that aspect of some people in the church. But I think the problem is like I think unfortunately, as you mentioned, a lot of people in power in religion are so desperate to use certain things as a way to justify their hatred. And that's why I can never subscribe to a religion personally, because it's just like I think it's not necessarily about the texture or the religion itself. It's about the people who have like took that religion and manipulated it into what they want it to be, and have then pushed it out their own views out onto everyone by using a certain book. And a lot of the times, like the people that do that haven't even fucking read the books themselves. Like that's kind of what I find fascinating about a lot of people who claim to be Christian, and they'll tell you everything to do with like, I know this and I know that, and I'm right about this. But it's like there are some Christian scholars out there that their entire lives they've been studying the Bible, Christianity in general, everything to do with the history of the church, but they would not claim to know everything and be the word of God. But someone that joins the church a month ago suddenly knows the word of God and can tell other people how they should live their life. Like I'm pretty sure there are texts in Christianity that almost tell you to not do that, to not like put your will onto other people in such a manipulative way. And that's the funny thing. It's as you mentioned in a few episodes ago, and even today, if you really want to, you can find any line in any religious texture as a way to justify your opinions. It doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah. It's just it for me. It's just, especially with the rise of like Christian nationalism in the US as well. It's just like there are just so many things that have made me I just don't want to even be associated with it, and it's been tough, man, because I have, people in my life that still think that way. And it's just like you were saying before, right? I don't want to throw away relationships that are very important to me, right? About as close of a relationship as you can have. I don't want to just throw that away because now we disagree on these certain things as far as religion is concerned. And sadly, now it's turned into religion basically equals politics, which is it's one of those things that it's like I just avoid it, especially with certain people, because it's just pointless. It's just going to turn into an argument. And it's going to make me think, I guess, less of a person that I really care about. And I just don't want to do that. Like, what does that do? What does that do for me other than just hurt? Because it's like, I know that I'm not going to change this person's mind. I know that, so it's just, I've gotten to a point where it's like, maybe it's cowardly, but it's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to taint these relationships, especially because some of them are ones that are not going to be going on much longer because these people are older. And it's like, do I want to just have that argument for what? So they're mad. And then now the next few years that I have is just, there's anger there, it's tough, man.
I think that is a really interesting thing, like navigating religion, especially with older people in your family. It's like navigating the process, especially with you who have detached from religion and it was such a big part of your life. It's like when you still have those people that almost attached you in the first place to that religion, it's like going about that is very difficult. Now, with people in my family who do follow these religions, I don't question them. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the conversation. It will just cause an hour of my life that is just annoying, and it will lead to zero change and zero accountability because these people don't want to change.
Yeah.
So I'm happy, not like I don't want them to die, but I'm happy for them to live till they die, for them to be stuck in their beliefs. They can go and do that as long as they're not harming other people.
Yeah.
That cool, do what you want to do. I don't have the energy at like 29 to like convince. I think if there's one thing I've learned getting closer to my 30s, it's like I have no energy anymore to try and convince people to be something else. It's like it's not worth my time, because especially in today's world, people don't want to fucking it's not like they don't want to change, but they don't want to be told they're not even told they're wrong, but they don't want to be questioned. People don't want to be fucking questioned anymore in any sense. You can give, like, even with like some friends I give advice to, when they ask for advice, and sometimes you get a rebuttal of like, well, no. It's like, well, you just asked me for advice. And it's like the same with family members who are religious. And it's like, I feel like we're in such like a world that is so to do with discourse and needing to fight about everything. People now just can't accept when someone is just simply trying to help, or almost just be like, hey, I'm worried about you. And the same, and that applies to like a lot of people who I've seen go down religious pipelines, where it's like, I'm concerned for you, because it's like, not just because you're going down a religious pipeline, but it's like some of the things you're saying are almost like questioning me and my beliefs as a human being, and questioning my very friends and family members' existence. And it's like, but now it's like, I don't have the energy to even fight that, because it's like, these people won't change.
Yeah.
So why? I'm more than happy to just see them once a year, if that, and that's it. Like, and some members, it's like, there've been people who have gone too far, and it's like, well, I'm cutting you out my life for good. I don't want to talk to you. You can go fucking live your shitty little life in the way you want to live it. Be embroiled in hatred for all I care. I mean, it's not going to affect me because I don't have the energy to deal with it anymore. And it's like, when I was 21, I feel like it was a lot different. I feel like I had a lot more energy and fight. But I feel like seeing the world that we're in, the state of it, it's like, I'm happy to stick to my group of people, even if that is an echo chamber.
Yeah. And I've been lucky that I haven't had anyone in my life that is like truly just like, I'm like, what the, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I can't believe you feel this way. But there's definitely people where it's like, man, I just know how you feel about this, and I'm not even going to get into it with you because it's not worth it. Like,
yeah. Have you ever experienced, so this is something that I have fought with myself personally. It's going to sound weird, with family members in particular, of where they will be, say, like embroidered in their Christian beliefs. Have you ever found yourself like weirdly like saying something to them that caters to their beliefs, and you're almost like not even believing what you're saying, but you're almost just saying it as a way to kind of like appease them and make them feel a bit comfortable? Because I found myself even like not recently, but in the past, not so long ago, like saying things to family members who I know have bad beliefs, and I'll like make a joke to them where after the joke I'm like, well, why did I even say that? Because I don't agree with that, and it's like I don't believe it. It's almost like it's almost like a way to deal with them. And that's I don't know if you've ever had that, but it's something that I've had to deal with and experience. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's like keeping the peace, man. It's like
Yeah,
you're just. I think as humans we crave community, right? And so you try to find that, and like I think it's I find myself even like with just other people that I'm with, like I speak differently when I'm with Amanda's family than I do with just Amanda, or than I speak with my family. And it's not because I'm like trying to be fake, but it's like I'm just trying to, I guess, like fit in. And you can say whether or not that's like cowardly or you're not being yourself, but I feel like it's pretty normal. Like there's the term code switching, and it's almost like that to an extent, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think for me, it's just like, even with like offensive things, like a family member will say something offensive and I'll like jokingly laugh along or like say something in the response that'll like play into it. And it's like, I don't like that I've done that in the past. And I think it is like a coping mechanism of dealing with people.
You're just uncomfortable. Like you're avoiding the confrontation. That's one thing that Amanda definitely does not do, which I am. I wish that I could be more confrontational like she is, because if someone says something, she'll be like, that's racist. And I usually just am like, I just won't react. You know what I mean? Like if someone were to look at me when that happened, they'd be like, oh, he clearly didn't like that joke or whatever it is, right? But I'm not like, I avoid confrontation. You could say whether or not that's like, being a weenie, and maybe it is, but yeah, it's just not.
No, I've like gone home for Christmas and had family members say things, and I usually won't say anything. I'll just be like that. I just have that very like plain, like uncomfortable look on my face, and they'll know that I don't agree. And I almost like
that's what I was gonna say. I think part of it is they're trying. You're like you're not trying to give them the satisfaction, of getting the rise.
That's it. I think, and this is something that really annoys me about people that get radical beliefs. They want you to be mad. That's a part of why I've stopped caring, because it's like they want you to give a response, to disagree with them. And that's fucking fascinating. I don't know what chemistry in their brain is doing that. Like, I don't know why that happens. Because people almost want to disagree or argue or fight. And why do you think that is?
I think it's just like people, especially Fox News and stuff. They facts don't care about your feelings, and it's like the snowflakes are all mad if you disagree, and it's like they've been told that so much, and they're just trying to like see it for themselves. And I almost feel like at a certain point, it's just good to just be like, yeah, okay, and just not give them that satisfaction of what they were expecting. And maybe is it going to change them? No, but at least it'll be like, oh well. This guy is a raging liberal or whatever, and he didn't get all, didn't throw a hissy fit over this thing. I don't know. I don't know if it really does anything, but it's like, because there's especially like certain ways that I dress that will make certain people feel that I maybe think a certain way, and I kind of enjoy them being surprised that I disagree with that take. Not always, but it's like there's definitely certain outfits that I will wear that will make people think that I think a certain way, and I enjoy skirting that that stereotype, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it definitely is like when you get out of something, especially like religion, it almost like you always want to like go against the like you want to be
grain.
Yeah, that's it. You want to just go against it, because it's like you're almost becoming a completely different and new person to who you were previously. I'm grateful that I've never been particularly religious. It's like it's always been around me, and because of that, I've always quite like, it's not to the probably extent it was around you, but like it's been around me to the point of where it wasn't so serious that I was able to question it from a very young age, but it has definitely influenced my life. Like in points of my life, I definitely was against gay marriage, for example, when I was younger, because it used to be like, oh, well, it's a Christian event. And I'm not saying it because I don't like gay people, but it's like,
they shouldn't take hold of this ceremony that was invented by Christian people, and and that
was stuff put into my head by adults and people in power. And it's like, you just look back on it and I'm like, that's such a fucking dumb belief to have. It's like, why would anyone think that? It's like, and it's like, it's kind of why like I get upset and frustrated when I see people getting like cancelled for like even being like 18 to 21 for having certain beliefs when they've moved on and they've changed. But it's like, and you can see they've changed, but it's like people are like so insistent on not wanting people to change. And it's like, well, what do you want then? Do you want them to remain a horrible, homophobic, racist person forever? And that's kind of like, I'm not saying like people need to forgive someone for being homophobic or believing gay marriage shouldn't have been a thing at one point in their life. But it's almost like we definitely need to accept change and de-radicalization and coming over to our side. Because like, if we don't accept that, there's just going to be an increasing group of radicalized people. So it's like, as much as I get frustrated at Christianity and radicalization and people on that side, and say that I'm done talking to people, if someone wants to have a conversation with me and they're upfront and honest, being like, I've had all these terrible beliefs, but I'm really, wanting to change, I'm like, yeah, great, that's fantastic. Like, I'm not going to look it down on you for being this horrible person fucking 2 years ago or 4 or 5 or 10 years ago. It's like, you've accepted who you were and done and changed for the better. I welcome that, and the same for anyone. And I think it's like, I almost feel like we're in such a good polarizing place that conversation is forgotten in some senses. And I think it is understandable in a lot of communities. I come from a place of privilege. I'm a white guy. And it's like, even being bisexual, it's like, I don't think a lot of people even know that I'm bisexual. So I don't really ever get that many comments about it. So I'm in very, very, very privileged place. And I understand. I'm not speaking on behalf of other communities. I understand that there is a lot of hurt and pain in a lot of communities. But I am saying, like, I think it's still important to be open for people to change. But I think, again, though, on the other side, I think a lot of people change and they immediately expect to be forgiven for everything.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I've had people that have gone through that, and I've seen people like they've changed and great, but it almost feels like they haven't changed because they get frustrated at people for not forgiving them. And I think the problem is like change and forgiveness are two separate things. And it's like, we can accept change, but also doesn't mean necessarily a community or a person needs to forget and forgive immediately. And that's kind of why I think in a sense, like, I do get frustrated about a lot of things on both ends. If any of that makes any sense.
I think like a big part of what shows that someone has truly changed is if they can understand that, yes, they believe that they have changed, but they understand that the things that they believed before are going to cause so much hurt to a certain person that person is not going to be able to forgive you initially, and maybe not for a long time. And if you truly have changed, you understand and you give that person grace, and you don't just get upset, right? Because I think if you just get upset, you're just like, I don't want to say you haven't changed. I don't know if it's like you haven't changed, but it's like, are you, I guess you could say that way. Like, are you changing because you have changed, or are you changing because you just don't want to deal with the arguments? You just want this relationship to go back to how it was or whatever, right?
I think before someone you believe should accept you, you personally kind of like need to accept yourself that what you've done is going to mean this period of acceptance that you're expecting can take a very, very, very long time. And if you get frustrated at that, sure, you may have changed, like in some essence and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean you've reached the ending point yet. And that's fine. Like, I think it's like, apologies, changing as a human being, it's not a binary thing. It's not one yes or no, one or two. It's like it's a very deeply confusing thing of where, like, say if somebody's homophobic and they have genuinely changed and they do regret what they've done before, I can understand from their perspective why it would be frustrating for, say, somebody they were homophobic to in the past to not forgive them.
Yes.
But at the same time, you need to understand, like, unfortunately, that's the reality, because it's like, it's just a reality of things. Unfortunately, it's like your change doesn't necessarily mean someone's hurt has to align with each other.
Yeah, and like, if a homophobic dude that was homophobic was super homophobic to this guy named Derek, that was both of our friends, right? It would be much easier for me to be like, you know what, Bob, I'm glad you're not homophobic anymore. Cool, let's hang out again, right? But for Derek, who was getting made fun of by Bob, it would make sense if they're like, I don't ever want to be friends with Bob. I'm glad that they changed, but like the things that they said to me, and like who knows, maybe eventually they will come around. But like if it takes them a while, that like it shouldn't make Bob mad because Derek no longer wants to be friends with them, or it's going to take a while for them to become friends with them.
And I think the problem is like people think that like changing it's instantly fixed, but the problem is your actions before have not just put harm on people, but it's also caused long-term damage and trauma. Yeah. And that's something that can't be fixed by, oh, I've changed. And that's like when we get into conversations of why I think it's important to acknowledge things like slavery, for example. I know it's a lot bigger than just like, oh, one person was like homophobic to another, but it's like, I think acknowledging those things is important because it's like, yeah, sure, a lot of countries have changed, but if you don't, you need to acknowledge that like changing doesn't mean that there aren't people still to this day impacted by those actions of what your forefathers and country did. And I think that's what a lot of people get misconstrued. Again, I know it's a very big thing.
Slavery isn't around anymore. What are you talking? It's like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah. And it's important to keep on acknowledging these things because there are also people out there that think like that of like, oh, we don't need to talk about this. It was like, well, we do. Just like look at how like anti-Semitism is at an all-time high. It's like people like, why are we still talking about the Holocaust? But it's like, well, it's a clear reason to why. Now, again, like I do think people like look at Israel, for example. They've very much used the horrible atrocity what happened as a way to justify things. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still talk about these things. It's like with Hiroshima, we should still talk about that. Even though it was a long time ago, it's like clear impact of how, yes, America, well, not really the government, but a lot of Americans regret what happened there and think it was wrong. But that doesn't change the long-term damage and like trauma that it caused an entire nation of people, and there's like so many examples in all forms of life, from the smallest example to somebody being bullied. If somebody is being bullied by somebody and they change, that doesn't mean the victim needs to forgive immediately or ever, really. That's up to their choice. And we could even bring it to YouTube, for example. It's like, look at Gabbie Hanna again, like the situation.
Perfect transition. I love it.
Yeah. No, but
let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, actually. I mean, what's going on with her and her bringing up, do you know about the Jesse Smiles situation?
Not entirely. I mean, I know a little bit about like back in the day, but have there been updates or something?
Well, she's just coming after Jesse Smiles again, saying that Jesse like basically ruined her life. Jesse's like one of her abusers. She's calling Adam McIntyre her abuser and stuff like that. Actually, I need to go for a week before we get into this because I can imagine this is going to be a longer conversation. But hello everybody, we're back. We had a quick pee break. I've started using my Ninja Creamy again, and I put my finger in it, and I was like, I just had a little taste because it hasn't fully frozen yet. I was like, nah, I'm looking forward to eating that shit tomorrow. Dude, those things are like magic, man. 360 calories, 50 grams of protein. Like,
I've never used one. It'd be nice, but we just don't have we don't have the space for just like the counter space, man. It's
I bought it last year, and the other week I was walking Kenji, and it's about like 11 p.m. and these dudes like moving out of their flat, and they just turned to me and they're like, "Yo, do you want this? Like, we don't use it, and we don't really want to take it with us because it takes up space." And it was just another Ninja Creamy, and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll take." So I've got 2 Ninja Creamies now.
Oh my God.
And I'm waiting to give it to a friend who wants to claim it. I've had a friend in Manchester claim it, but it's like, I don't know how I'm going to get this to you, bro. This is like a big device. But if you do have a Ninja Creamy and you're listening now, they will tell you like it is like a cheat code because it's like, it's voluminous. Like the amount it makes in terms of like, obviously it's just like the recipe I used today was I used Greek yogurt, 0% fat, 200 grams, 200 ml of semi-skim milk. I used 30 gram of protein powder and peanut butter. I used some like sweetener, some zero sugar, caramel syrup, and some like this, like, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a thing that like basically it's like a xanthan gum, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it like kind of makes it all like ice creamy. And yeah, so that was about 300 calories, and then I'll put in like 2 Oreos in it tomorrow to like mix in. And yes, it's about 380, 400 calories, 50 to 60 grams of protein. Honestly, it's like when I'm like, I'm always craving something sweet, and I'll eat something like a biscuit or something like that, and I always feel bad because they're immediately hungry again because insulin spikes and stuff like that. Whereas when I have one of these, it's like I can't usually finish it because it's a lot of ice cream for one sitting. So yeah, I just kind of want to get back into making them. It's just for me, I always my problem with these sort of devices is cleaning. It doesn't require that much cleaning, but it's like it's even with like meal prepping and stuff, it's so much effort to clean and put everything in there and stuff like that. But once you do it, you don't regret it. But yeah, sorry, were you gonna say something?
No.
Yeah, that's let's get. I know we said we weren't going to talk about YouTube stuff. I'm like so determined for this to not be the title. I imagine we'll have something about Christianity in the title because we randomly spoke about that for an hour, which I thought was a good conversation. We're still going to talk about it now because yeah. So Gabbie, she came back again, and she's been going fucking nuts, bro. Like she is like I kind of like strayed off from saying this person's going insane or crazy, but it's like no, it's come on, she's going crazy. She has been making multiple videos. We spoke about it last week, the podcast and stuff like that. More recently, she's been coming after people like Jesse Smiles again. Jesse is the person who, at one point of time, Gabbie admitted to hearing out her rapist and hearing the story out to this person. Obviously, we talk about forgiveness and acceptance in our previous conversation. She didn't forgive and accept that immediately. And over the years, those two have done a lot of beef about it. And Gabbie now is basically, well, Gabbie 4 years ago tried to expose Jesse as a liar, as a manipulator and stuff like that. Didn't work. Her video got like 1 million views, completely failed, blew up in her face. She deleted all the videos. And now she's back doing it again, but in a worse, more like ranty Christian format of where she's making a lot. I mean, we can play some of the TikToks if you want. Like,
I would like to see them.
Okay, let me. I think I've got a few of them downloaded. Let me just pull up. We weren't gonna originally do this, but it's actually quite honestly entertaining. Yeah. So sorry. I'm just gonna get one on TikTok to be honest. TikTok. Gabbie Hanna deleted. Okay, yeah, this is a good amount of them. Oh wait, it's small again. And we'll get this share screen. And here we go. Okay, you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so as you can see, I mean, she's literally just uploaded this about Christianity. I haven't even seen this one. I think so. A big thing she keeps on going on about is how she was kicked out of her church because her pastor considered her too crazy for her church.
This pastor called me crazy.
Oh shit! Does that sound?
Face.
Can you hear that?
This pastor called me crazy in my face.
Why can't I hear it? The fuck? You can hear it, but I can't hear it. That's so weird.
No audio for you, bro.
Had a dream from.
Yeah, why aren't I getting audio? The hell?
You know what trend I hate, and I cannot.
I'm so confused right now.
That is very strange that you can't hear it.
What if I like come out of StreamYard? Hold on, let me stop sharing it. No, I still can't hear it. This is weird.
Is it? I'm assuming it's a setting like the audio must not be going into your.
Oh, I fixed it. I was on the wrong settings again. Yeah. Did I just hit? Did your cat just knock someone over?
No, it's Amanda putting away the groceries.
Oh,
I'm not helping like a POS.
Oh, dude, you suck.
I know.
Okay. Here we go. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties. Okay, let's get into this.
You know what trend I hate, and I cannot.
Wait, no, this is the wrong one again.
This pastor called me crazy to my face because I told him.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's right there. Amanda was looking for the cat.
Oh, that's fair. All right. Are we good?
That I had
yeah.
Where he told me that Jesus is the truth and I needed to like repent. I am definitely going to be telling this story in full with my husband because he was there. We have the emails, we have the conversation in person recorded.
Oh my God.
The hurt is real. And a pastor who does not believe in the Holy Spirit and is not willing to hear your testimony is why people leave the church. Before I even get started on the story, let's just imagine this, right? if I was actually crazy, let's say this pastor actually
If she was actually crazy.
believes that I'm having psychosis because God told me in a dream to repent and follow Jesus. If this pastor actually believes I'm crazy, why would he make us leave the church? Just jumping in to say that.
Why do you think she was made to leave the church?
I mean, more than anything, it's probably just they just don't want to deal with the PR, bro. Like, it's too much.
Well, she actually goes on to say that apparently at first, interestingly, they were really happy that she joined because she was popular. So she must have said and done some things that even they were like,
that's what I was gonna say. I think
like,
it's some things, right? It's probably maybe not one thing. It's just constant. You get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore. But again, I haven't even seen the video, so
yeah, let's continue.
Jesus left the 99 to go after the one. Hardcore cult vibes.
Comparing herself to Jesus, and afterwards says hardcore cult vibes.
Literally said, you can't tell anybody inside or outside the church what I told you, or else you guys are going to be on disciplinary action or excommunicated from the church. Actually, that's not what he said. What he said was,
great.
Well, then why?
Yeah, why say it?
You can't tell anyone inside or outside the church what I told him, meaning you can't tell anybody in your life ever again that you had a spiritual encounter or a spiritual dream, or else you will get kicked out of the church or you will be put on disciplinary action. That was the level of control that he was trying to enforce over my testimony. He doesn't believe in the spiritual gifts at all. So basically, they'll say that they believe that the Holy Spirit is an active and present part of our life, but it's very limited. The Holy Spirit, in their view, is only allowed to communicate to you through the Bible or through another believer who's
a big thing. The reason she says in her podcast of why she was kicked out is she kept telling her, the pastor, that she was getting visited in her dreams by Jesus, and Jesus was telling her things, and that was the voice of God.
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope, like with like the fruits of the spirit, because people can just say anything was God. You know what I mean? And I think that's honestly a big part of why probably churches avoid that, is so people don't do that, right?
100%.
Or like people speak in tongues and then they'll act like they know what the tongues mean, and the tongue said to do this, to kill your husband, and it's like, no.
The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
No, because literally, it's like a fucking movie.
Or like healing, right? That's another one where it's like we've seen so many people claim to be healers, you know, and there's been so many documentaries of people being caught out because it's just
when there's like that guy on stage and there's hundreds of thousands of people in the crowd, and he's like, I'm gonna make this person walk in the name of Jesus Christ, the Lord Himself, and he the person obviously as an actor stands up from the wheelchair, everyone goes crazy, and now here's our box, please put that in.
Or one thing that what happens often with stuff like that is the person might be partially paralyzed, right? And then they end up getting up and walking, but a lot of it is the adrenaline and the intensity of the situation, of the moment, and then they could walk for a little bit, but like in reality this person isn't completely paralyzed, so like they can, if they really wanted to, right? But like all of the adrenaline being on stage in front of thousands, it gets you to do something that, but then, you know, you go back a week later and they're in the same situation, right? Or, you know, I think everyone's seen that one documentary of the guy that he had an earpiece and people would write down the things that are ailing them, and then someone that was working behind the scenes would have a card and be like, oh, this is Jerry Donison and he has an issue with his knee, and then he'd be like, I'm getting told there's a J name that has knee problems, and like, but in reality it was just person behind this, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's a big reason why a lot of churches like spiritual gifts, we're just not even gonna get into it, you know.
I have a broken ankle, I hear the power of God. I'm managing to stand. No, in America as well, you guys have like super churches, right? Of where it's like almost like a there's like, you can go to some and there's like fucking like monster truck fights and stuff like that. It's like crazy shit. It almost feels like, I kind of want to go to one of these at one point because it seems kind of fun.
The church that I was talking about was kind of not like a mega church, like the most extreme level, like huge, but it was pretty big. And like there were times when they would have this guy that was a healer, and like even though I was super into, you know, I was always like, I'm sorry, like, because it was just like, it just didn't make sense, because it was like, if this is a true, right, if God can do this, why doesn't it happen more? Why is it only on stage when they're like, why? It just didn't make any sense to me, but.
And if it was true, why are there millions
of people that are struggling with this thing?
Dying from starvation, insects fucking burying into their eyes and stuff like that. Why is that a thing? That's kind of like, I think it's like a really famous Stephen Fry quote. You know Stephen Fry?
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
He's the one that does the Harry Potter audiobooks. Have you ever heard
of him? Okay,
yeah. Very British guy. Like every British person knows who he is. He's very like all parts of our childhood. But he did a really interesting interview about why he's an atheist, and he was basically like questioning of like why is there like why are there insects whose whole life process is developed to just going into people's faces and eyes and burying into them? Like why would he create such things? And the argument would be, well, Adam and Eve, they apple and it brought badness into the world, but it's like it just feels very convenient, doesn't it? Like why would there even be that negative thought in his mind to eat the apple? You know what I mean? It's Eve that eats the apple, right? Or is it Adam?
I think oh man, you're putting me on the spot now. I think Eve first does, and then she brings it to Adam, and then he does, and then that's why women are evil.
Guys are the problems of everything. No, I actually think the Bible, like, there's some really good stories in there. I think that's the really interesting thing about religious texture is a lot of it is actually quite interesting. With like the Epstein stuff that came out, and you heard about they're all like worshipping Moloch and stuff, and I've never really known much about Satanism, Lucifer and stuff like that. And I started looking into it just like out of genuine curiosity of like who was Moloch and who were they worshipping. And it's fucking insane of how like even with the devil, there's so many different interpretations of the devil and Lucifer, for example. Like in a lot of like cases, Satan and Lucifer are two different entities, whereas in a lot of like modern day Christianity, they're like kind of intertwined as the same thing. And in some cases, the devil isn't really a thing. It's more of like an idea. And then there are demons like Lucifer, like Moloch. And it's like, I find it very interesting that like in like texture, like Christian texture, like Lucifer is like arguably, well, paganism really. Like Lucifer is arguably not as evil as some other demons that have been written. Like Moloch, for example, his whole thing is about like child sacrifice and stuff like that. Whereas Lucifer is more about like rebelling against like the god and higher beings and rebelling in all forms of the world. And
it was like greed, I think, right?
Yeah, because greed. Yeah,
I remember like what I was taught was like Lucifer was like basically almost like God's right-hand man, and then he basically wanted more power, and then because of that he got sent down, and then he became basically the devil. And that was like the whole story that I was kind of told. And it was like his greed and like wanting more, even though he was given so much by God, like was his biggest folly, right? And like that was the problem that he had, and that's why greed is so bad and you should avoid it at all costs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like he obviously is seen as the most evil, and almost like the ruler of hell. But there actually is technically no ruler of hell, I believe. I think it's like just a complete like. And another thing is like what I find really interesting is like in movies and like depictions of demonology, it's like you're almost taught to believe that the demons themselves enjoy being a devil and being in hell and being a ruler of hell. But the whole point is they as well are also being tortured and hate every part of their existence, which I find really obviously I mean, do you know what's interesting to me is like I actually feel like the belief of hell for me personally is weirdly more believable than the idea of an omnipresent God that like created everything. I don't know why, because obviously they're two sides to the coin, but it's like I feel like maybe the lore is just more interesting with demonology than God itself. But I do find it interesting, and also how like we hear about like you see movies of demons coming to like Earth and stuff like that, but like I believe as well demons technically haven't come to Earth in Christianity. I'm pretty sure, and I find that very fascinating. And I find the whole hierarchy of demons in lore, of course, to be interesting. Of like Moloch, Lucifer, Beelzebub, because even growing up, I thought Beelzebub, the devil, and Lucifer and Satan were all the same entity, but they're not. So I like. Don't get me wrong, I find religion to be fascinating, but I think it's like when you then use that to push power
Yeah.
belief. Before we go back to Gabbie, when you were like growing up, did you learn much about like demons and stuff, or is it more just like
No.
the devil and that's it?
Yeah. It was they wouldn't really focus too much on that. So it was like basically what you learned was Lucifer was with God, like basically his right-hand man became greedy, was sent down to hell because of that, and then their eternal struggle basically is, that's what we were taught, at least.
Yeah, I think probably it's not taught as much in Christianity because technically it's paganism. Like I think most of the demons that we hear about are pagan beliefs, I believe, pagan demons that have been reinterpreted in Christianity and Judaism. For example, like Moloch is in Judaism. He's a heavily like condemned demon, and the same in Christianity. And it all seems to stem from paganism, I'm pretty sure. And another thing I found interesting is like a lot of Satanists, again, they don't necessarily believe in like I think people hear Satanist and think like child sacrifice and stuff like that, which actually isn't true. Like with this Epstein stuff, that's kind of like what pushed me into learning about this stuff, is I saw like somebody who claims to be a Satanist, and they were basically being like, he is not a Satanist. Like his beliefs are very much in another category of religious texture that isn't Satanism. And I think a lot of Satanists actually don't believe in the devil, I'm pretty sure, which is really interesting. I think it's more about rebellion and the idea.
Yeah, there's like, I think there's two main kind of like Satanist churches in, at least in America. I don't know for the rest of the world. And I know they have very similar names, but they're slightly different. The one that was always really interesting to me was basically, I think it was either the Church of Satanism or the Church of Satan, or
so the Church of Satan.
The Satanic Temple is one of them, I think, right?
The Church of Satan. So the Church of Satan don't believe in the devil, but then you have theistic Satanists who are like really rare, but I believe in the devil as a spiritual entity, but consider him to be like misunderstood and not like super evil.
Yeah. So the one that I think doesn't believe really in the devil, a lot of what they do is kind of like outreach, and they will try and basically, like when there's, I think there was something at one of the states where they were trying to put up the 10 Commandments in front of like a state building, right? State Capitol or something like that, right? A state assembly building. And they wanted to put up this 10 Commandments thing. And then, so this, that church, the Church of Satan or whatever, whichever one it was, right? They said, well, if you're going to do that, well, we want to put up a statue of Satan, basically, right? And it's like, because we're a religion in this area, and it should all be equal, right? So if and then we can have, a Jewish person put up something that they want, right? And then that became a whole thing. And I think they eventually had to take down the 10 Commandments because it was like, well, we're not gonna put this up. So I think that's interesting.
So it's kind of like based on the rebellion of Lucifer, but not believing in Lucifer then.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That's why I find it interesting to see people talking about Satanism because of Epstein, and there's all the stuff to do with child sacrifice being alluded to. But God, we're so getting demonetized. But it's like, it's like I find it interesting to see misinterpretations, and I think a lot of it comes down to movies and like Hollywood and stuff.
Yeah,
with Christianity, with exorcisms and stuff like that. I think because of the sensationalism surrounding it, I think a lot of people think that demonology is like way bigger in Christianity than it actually is. Like, but may the power of Christ compel you and stuff like that, and like holy water exists. Like people but they, pastors think they have holy water, they bless the water and stuff like that. But most churches don't talk about that stuff. From what you said, and
at least the ones I went to.
Yeah, like I know that the Catholic Church still has exorcists to this day, and it's still performed, but it's kind of like not really a big thing at least anymore. I honestly think most throughout history, demons have been used as an idea of control. Like again, like the one that I really looked into was the Moloch thing, because that was the thing that kept on coming up. And it's like thousands or hundreds of years ago, there used to be parts of the world where they would like worship it and like sacrifice things to Moloch, but it's like clearly just higher ups are using that as a form of control. And it's like, and I think that's, and even with like witch trials, for example, they would sacrifice, like they would burn women at a stake at the belief that they've been possessed by a demon. But the reality is it's they were just using that to oppress women and using it to justify their actions oppressing women. So it's like, weirdly and bizarrely, the idea of devils and demons and Satan has actually like inspired satanic ritual happening from humans themselves by like spreading evil and misery at the idea of we're defending the world against Satan, which is, I mean, almost it's like the devil wins in that aspect.
Yeah, like, when I've always like, even when I was super Christian, right? When people were like really over the top about that stuff, I was always just like, you're this is a little too much for me, bro. Like, you're a little too far gone for me, man.
Like, did they believe in it then?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's some people that were very like, I was never the person that was like, that's the devil. That's the devil. I was just like, that sucks. Like I don't know, like I never really got to that level of like, really being like, this thing is the devil that did this. It was like, I mean, it was just a situation that sucks, and it is what it is.
I think it's like really a good example of human ignorance that they think that a demon would have any form of like same level. You could understand a demon. You could understand its beliefs and ideology the same way people believe they could understand God if God is real. Like these are things that are like believed to be ancient things of like an underworld or an overworld of where they've like these are entities that could not be understood by a regular human being. And I find it almost funny that people will like point to a human doing something bad and be like, that guy's the devil, dude. And it's like, I feel like you really need to read what the devil is actually supposed to be. It's like, I think there's very sheer difference. And I think the devil now is just an idea used to weaponize like certain beliefs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not expect us to go this far into religion today, but let's get back on to Gabrielle. Now we spoke about demons.
You a Bible verse, but any other spiritual communication, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, which by the way are well documented in the Bible, we are told in the New Testament to pray for these gifts specifically. So as a spiritual person who's never been afraid to share their spiritual experience, the last thing I would have expected from a pastor who preaches the power of the working Holy Spirit in our lives to not believe in divine communication. Because at the end of the day,
is that like a bad thing? Because I said in my video when I spoke about it, I was like, is that like a controversial thing in Christianity to not believe in divine communication and divine intervention?
I think it would be controversial for a pastor to say that out loud, but I think like what probably happened from the little that I know is that the person has seen how Gabbie is acting and is like, you need to chill. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's probably really at least from what I'm hearing here. It's like, because I've seen this before, especially it's super common with people like Gabbie, right? We're not in the fold for a long time. They come back, or they first time become Christian, and they have, oh my God, all this stuff is happening to me. And it's like, a lot of times people would just have to be like, yo, you need to chill out. Like, this is probably not actually happening. You're probably, but again, that's what's dangerous about accepting someone. I don't want to say accepting someone like Gabbie, but like when people that are in the same kind of position that Gabbie seems to be in right now, that's what's dangerous about just whole, like being like, yep, this is it. It seems like this person was really trying to look out for her and was like probably trying to be like, yo, you need to relax. Like, because there's when people like, God told me to kill that person. It's just like, that's maybe what he's trying to avoid. Or God told me to drive the wrong way on the freeway, or whatever crazy thing, and that's, I'm sure this person has been in the same position with someone else, right? Maybe doesn't have as large of a following as Gabbie, but
from what I can see, he was being responsible in an essence. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe she really did find one of the worst pastors possible. Because like even like, I think that saying to another Christian that God will not reach out to you in your dreams ever probably doesn't sound like Christianity to me. Or divine, like I've known about divine intervention. That's always that's like a really popular thing. That like God will act, and you will see God at a moment in your life where like He will intervene, and you will see that, and it will, but I think it's more I think what's more likely that's happened is like based on her videos of where she's going to war with Jesse Smiles, Adam McIntyre, calling them all her abusers, and well, we'll get onto this video here in a second, but like I think she was more probably getting a bit hysterical with her beliefs, and he was like, bro, just fucking chill. Like God is not coming to you every single night of the week like it's FaceTime. That's probably what he more meant. And based on this video I'm about to click on, I can get why he was.
I'm repenting in this moment of allowing.
Wait, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I'm repenting in this moment of allowing hate, bitterness, resentment, envy, wrath to enter my heart and also flow out of my mouth. It's really hard, but I know that I can continue to get through.
Like, this is sad. Like it's much as like some of the videos she's uploaded for it. I feel like this is genuinely kind of sad. Like, obviously I disagree with everything she's done, but I said in my video, I was like, this is just like depressing to see you're at this point now. And I think a lot of it does come from her religion. I'm not like, and there's people speculating here about like, isn't getting obsessed a sign of mania and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that, but I can clearly see that she's not doing well, you know?
This, I'm not perfect and I'll make mistakes, and so will you. But I want you to know that I am sorry if in these past few days I've scared you or upset you or just frustrated you, made you feel negative emotions. Like, I don't want that for anybody. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I just want peace. And I thought that was going to bring me peace, and it didn't. But honestly, I think.
And that there is probably why her pastor told her that God is not coming to her in her dreams every night. Because like, he probably saw that like Gabbie has basically been acting like this is her God-given mission. And I think her pastor would have saw what she was saying and would have been like, yo, you need to relax. Like, it's doesn't really work like that. And the pastor told her to like go speak to a therapist, pretty much, from what I can see. And it's like, yeah, I think that's right advice. I think you do need to speak to a therapist rather than coming onto your YouTube channel. She's uploaded like 50 deleted TikToks at this point. And it's like, yeah, I think your pastor was actually right in what he said.
Yeah.
That this did. I think that I can have like real peace with the situation now. So we'll never really be fully healed until we get to meet Jesus face to face. And I can't wait for that day. Heaven is where it's at, Brad. This is my apology video for Trisha Paytas.
Yeah, and then it just continues. Like, this is like, so this is the next one that she deleted, I think.
And Jesse Smiles. A few days ago, I got really upset because I was just in a great headspace. We've been working on some amazing projects, and I'm just living a very different, happy, married life in Pennsylvania. And everything's just like going so peacefully, right? And then there's just the viral posts about this or that are getting served to me because I'm Gabbie Hanna. You know what I mean? Like, these are posts about Gabbie Hanna. They're getting served to me. So anyway, I just got into the spiral. If you have OCD, if you're somebody who has experienced PTSD, which I'm sure both of you have, then you understand like the rumination, the obsession, the spiral, how you just get caught in this like negative head.
It's like she's admitting here, like, yeah, not in a good spot, but still continuing. And it's like, going back to the pastor, I think that's probably why he was so, like, it said what he said to her. Because some of the things she's been saying are like, this is one of the main ones.
Jesse Smiles has not said your name in years, babe. In 2019, Jesse Smiles made a video about an alleged conversation we had in 2014, despite the fact that we had years of text messages from 2014 to.
So in this, it's like the whole point is like they had a conversation on a phone call where Gabbie admits to, as I said earlier, hearing out her rapist. And now, like, if we're going back to that conversation we had about forgiveness earlier, it's like Gabbie is very angry that Jesse hasn't forgiven her, pretty much. But not just that, it's not even that, actually. It's like Gabbie's now in the spot of where, like, she is actively basically putting it all onto Jesse and is basically calling Jesse and everyone else an abuser and stuff like that because of things that happened 5 years ago. Jesse Smiles has not made a new video recently. The stuff happened 5 years ago, and it's like randomly she's doing this again and again and again and again. And it's like, why do you think this guy's told you to get help? Nobody was talking about this, but now again, everyone is talking about this. because she has put it onto our feeds and in our minds again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to sound like the boomer guy, right? But it's like, bro, just get off the internet.
Yeah.
Just like, why are you even like, if this has been such a huge burden and problem for you, I think the easiest thing to do is to just get off of the internet, at least at the capacity that you're clearly doing it now, right? Like, that's the easiest thing, right? Like, she seems like she, did well for herself. She seems to have made a lot of money. Like, just enjoy it, right? And ride off to the sunset with that. It's just, but I think that like you were saying, it's the rumination, it's the constant, like, just spiraling and thinking about it and trying, oh, maybe this video will make everyone believe. Like, it's like, dude, at some point you have to just understand people believe what they believe, and there is nothing that you are going to say that is going to change that. Like, that's just the truth, regardless of if that's wrong, right or wrong or whatever. Like, that is what it is, and you just have to accept that, because it's just like you said, you're just bringing it up and making it worse for yourself for no reason other than what, like, you're going to try and prove someone wrong. It's not going to happen,
It's also like, why are you doing this? Because you're not getting any views doing it. No one cares. Like, my videos on her haven't particularly done well. It's just average views. Her videos, she get like a few thousand views, and it's like, is it really worth it? Like, I feel like she could get more views doing something else. And I think we spoke about this last week, but yeah, even like going through it into this week, and she's been making like posts on her Patreon, like dedicated to Adam McIntyre, calling him an abuser, like making 10-minute videos about how Adam McIntyre has abused her over the years because he's made a few videos on her here and there. And it's just like, bro, I think you need to fucking realize that nothing's going to change, and you should probably just move on. Like, it's kind of sad, to be honest with you, that we're still going on about this fucking 7 years later.
Yeah, like you said, like, it's just clear that that was a very big moment in her life, and it's like she doesn't feel like she can move on. I get that, but what she's doing now is it's only making it worse. Like, it's not making it any better.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, and it's like, I think it's also going to get to this weird point of where she's going to continue to talk about this, but no one else is. Like, yeah, I think a few channels here and there, including myself, have spoken about it now. But like, after this, it's like, Trisha Paytas hasn't responded to her. Gabbie Hanna has no. Jessie Smiles hasn't.
She certainly responded to herself. I'm sure.
You said that's the only one who has fucking responded.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. But other than that, it's like, I really don't think people care. I really don't, outside of like the broader commentary space.
Well, yeah, because like, if you or someone else that's in the same kind of vein as us, right, commentary, talk about it, whatever, right? But if Trisha or Jessie Smiles or whoever else, Adam McIntyre, well, I'm assuming Adam's talking about it, right?
Yeah, Adam has, yeah.
But like, that just adds to the legitimacy of it, right? Especially with like, because I think she's mad at Adam for a different reason than like Trisha and Jessie. They were like the ground zero of the whole situation, right? In her mind, right? I think Adam was more kind of after the fact, kind of similar to you, right? Like, after the fact, talking about it. I don't really know. So if I'm wrong, whatever. But like,
I can't believe I've not been mentioned in this whole thing once. What the fuck, dude? I have covered you so many times, Gabbie. Why? I think she's seen me speaking about her and seen me say, "Why are you not mentioning me?" I'm deeply offended. Make
a TikTok, bro.
Yeah, I think I have to. I think maybe I need to be like, say that. I don't know, but I've got a video of 2 million views about Gabbie, and I'm not in the conversation. Come on, man. Come on. I feel left out of the party. I'm seeing YouTubers, and I don't ever do the numbers game, but I am by far, out of all the commentary people mentioned, the most subscribed one in these people being spoken about. Come on, give me some great,
man. She just likes you, bro.
I think she does. I think she sees me and she's like, well, at least he's nice sometimes. Which, I mean, I'm not, but I think I'm the nicest out of everyone. I think not like saying everyone's necessarily been mean, but I feel like over the years I've covered her the least. But when I have covered her, the views have been good on the videos. So it's like, I'm still in the conversation, Gabbie. Please start talking. No, I'm joking. You do you, mate. But I was just surprised. I thought I was going to get brought up once. Maybe it's because like I only covered the Jessie situation once. I don't know, but I even had, I think I mentioned it last week, another commentary person being like, she's done this whole fucking hit list and you're not in it. I'm like, bro, I know, I want to be in it, man. It's like right now. I keep seeing all the memes on like of like World War III, and then there's just like Kim Jong-un who's just sat in the back not doing anything. Nobody's touching him. It's like I'm basically the Kim Jong-un in this situation, man. Let's go to nuclear war. Fuck it. But yeah, like in terms of summarizing everything, like I really don't have much more energy to speak about Gabbie Hanna. I've dedicated too much time to her.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. But I mean, she can continue if she wants to, like at least provide content to the world. I actually say that in my video. I'm like, it's funny because like she thinks her videos are achieving anything other than commentary channels being happy that they have something to talk about.
Yes.
Like you're just feeding the masses.
That's what the problem. I just think that, like I said, I know it's like the boomer thing to say, but it's like, dude, just put down the phone, man. Go out, cut some grass, go do something else with your time. Like, because this is not, it's just sad. Honestly, like at this point, like watching that video, it's just sad to see someone in that position and like, just like, I don't know. I just struggle. Like, where are the people in her life that, like she needs someone in her life that can like stop.
Yeah.
And I just don't think she has that.
It's what I found funny in her podcasts. In her podcast, we saw it with her husband last week, right? And it's like, in every episode, he like says things where he's like, "Oh, I know this because you told me," and stuff like that. And I'm like, I think that like, oh no, actually, sorry, I do need to show you a clip. Oh no, I can't believe I haven't shown you this. This is this clip. I'm like, okay, yeah.
I take a left.
Why did she do this? You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Left. I take a left. Hit somebody with my car. Hit them with my. Did I ever tell you this?
I hit a person.
I hit a person. A person walking. Hit them with my car. Tap. They. You know what?
My husband's like, what the fuck?
Oh
like,
my god, dude.
I mean, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, do you want my information? Are you okay? Like, and they're like, no, just mad. Obviously, watch it. Like, be careful. And I'm just like, I could have killed this person. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff happening all at once. I go into the dentist. They do their little thing. The whole time I'm just laying there thinking about, I could have just killed this person. This is unbelievable. I almost took this person out. I'm driving. I'm like reeling by everything that's happened in the past 12 hours. I'm visited by this light.
Oh my god, dude.
This is what I mean, bro. Fucking off the walls.
I like the top comment on this.
Oh yeah, I'm bro. As I said, I'm involved, man. Gabbie, come on, make the fucking TikTok already.
The angel lights that communicate to you, and that Saint Michael might be talking to me directly. I express gratitude for this woman and my cats, and she calls me on the spot. Like I'm praying in this moment. This is when I prayed for my enemies by name. Forgive them, Lord. I forgive them. Help me to forgive them. Help them the way you help me. Like turn from this lifestyle.
Husband's like, pro.
How, dude? I just wonder what is going on in his head.
I mean, I can't remember who it was, but I swear I read that he reached out to somebody that I might be chatting shit, but I don't know, man, because like I definitely think everything he knows about all this internet stuff is just like the most biased perspective possible. You know what I mean? Like everything he's been fed is just like her perspective, and from what we've seen, pretty fucking warped perspective.
Yeah,
she almost kills a guy and then suddenly prays, the lights are coming down. It's all right, Gabbie, we forgive you,
dude.
Yeah. Do you know anything about angel numbers? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I've heard like the term, but I don't know what people do with it.
It's another thing. I don't know if she's deleted it now because she's been deleting a lot of things recently. Is it this one?
You know what trend I hate? And
No.
Okay, so my introduction to angel numbers was my grandma sent me an article because I was seeing the number 666 everywhere. And
I can wonder why.
was super spooked by it. It was like chasing me. It was attached to very specific videos, tweets, and stuff that were basically telling me like, you're on the wrong path. You have to pay attention to what's happening, right? So I get this article.
This is like no different to seeing 11:11 and being like, oh, it's 11:11, time to make a wish.
I mean, this just seems like someone that is on drugs that needs to relax.
Yeah,
like that's what I see.
Yeah, man. Even the fucking long ass caption.
From like my Catholic grandma, I'm raised Catholic. It's all about angels. You know, I was raised praying to my guardian angel, believing that we have angels. So this was not a scary or witchcrafty type thing to me. Angel numbers are witchcraft, new age magic. Do not be mistaken. However, I get this article.
So fucking too much. It's too much, bro. Like, I almost feel bad laughing. You know, we weren't even going to do this segment, but it's gone on for so fucking long.
It's just like, it's just so interesting, man. Like the people that like her will be super hyper spiritual, but they're also the first to be like, but that's devil worship and it's evil and it's terrible. And it's like, bro, you're literally doing that just in a different flavor.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just in a different flavor. You have packaged it differently. Like what you call witchcraft is just what you believe in a different flavor. It's just so silly to me, man. It's so, I don't know. So silly to me.
And it's like, I'm really like trying to toe the lines in the things I say, because like I think it's very obvious what my opinion is. I'll just sound worried and concerned for this person. But I mean, am I going too far in saying is religious psychosis a thing? Because
no, it is. No, it is, and I think that's certainly that's what I think she has.
She gets really when people mention psychosis. Sorry to interject. I know people get mad at me for interjecting, but I should try to say people get mad at her. She gets mad at people for mentioning psychosis and stuff like that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, it's not like I'm sure it's not something that anyone that has it wants to be told they have it. You know.
Yeah.
My cat's just being stupid over there. But I think that that's exactly what this is, and it is very common. It's something that happens very often, especially people that are like her, respectfully, that end up finding religion. This, like, I've seen this in real life with people that I knew, right? Like, it was like something that you almost got used to in, like, at least the church that I grew up in, especially super common with people that just came in and they had a hard life and they're coming in after something happened to them, right? It was like common to a point where I saw it so much and I was just like, they're gonna burn bright and then they're probably going to be gone, right? Like, it was just common like that. You'd see someone that was just like, oh, intense, and then where'd they go? Oh yeah, they left. Yeah. You know, whether for whatever reason, you don't really know. I'm not saying they died, but like that, you know, they go to a different church because again, they get kicked out, and a lot of times it's just like the one of the higher ups being like, hey, maybe we need to reel it back. And then they see that as the demon devil has gone into my pastor and spoke words through his mouth. And it's just like, then I had to leave and I went to this place. And then they just kind of hop around. And yeah, I think that's kind of, obviously I can't diagnose anybody, but if you know, that's the vibe I'm getting for sure.
I've seen people, I'm not saying this about her, but I've seen people with a form of mania, like being manic, and it very much leads to them being so like happy and like I'm doing this and it's the best thing I've ever done. It's changed my life and I'm this and that and this. I'm so happy and like I'm posting a million times on social media, and then it's like they hit the wall and it's like that's when it gets bad. Like that's when it gets bad, and it's like we've seen that happen before, and it's like, just from my observations, I'm not making any diagnosis. Obviously, I'm not Shane Dawsoning it right now, but I'm saying it's like what I can see is what I've seen before, but I'm just getting like the religious version of it. You know, like you know how you get like fucking you buy some chips, as the Americans call it, and you get really salted. You get salt and vinegar. You get fucking nacho cheese, and it's like you get all different forms of it. But it's like I'm just seeing a different flavor of being a bit manic. Like that's what I feel that's what I'm seeing. It's like obviously I'm not a doctor who can diagnose things, but it's like I think people can observe it. And I think the problem is like people are very sensitive about that, because obviously they should be. You shouldn't just diagnose somebody with something, but it's like, when are we gonna be real about this? When are we gonna be like, this ain't right? I mean, maybe she just truly is a fucking full-on Bible basher. Maybe.
I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't believe what she's saying, right? But I think that it's always interesting, right? If someone is very upset about a certain thing being said, a lot of times there might be truth in that. So the fact that she is so against someone saying that maybe there's some sort of manic situation going on, maybe that's me being disrespectful or, not caring, but I don't know. Like, I don't get how you can watch those videos and not come to a similar conclusion. Maybe not the same exact one, but clearly this is not someone that is in a healthy headspace.
Yeah. The switch up in emotion is like very evident in someone that's not acting in a regular way. That's how I'll word it. Like, I've had friends, I've dated people who have had mental health issues, and I've seen them, be in a state in a certain way. And it's like, I know the traits, I know the signs. It's kind of similar. May not be the same thing, of course, but it's like you can only observe what's in front of you, and I'm observing what's in front of me. But with that, I think we'll leave that there. I think that was a good 2-hour conversation about religion. I wanted to, if you still got time, do you want to talk about what you've been reading recently?
Yeah, I mean, I am getting through Return of the King. So I just got to I don't want to spoil anything, but we just got to Mount Doom. And so we're towards the end. We're like 30% left of the book. And so I'll have read Lord of the Rings, which is really cool.
Do you know what happens at the ending of the book? Do you know about the difference between the book and the movie?
No. So yeah, I'm excited to I'm excited because I have no idea. So I'm excited about that, and then there's been a couple like little smaller books that I've been reading. I read this book called Operation Bounce House, which was really fun. It's by Matt Dinniman, who he is the same author as. Have you heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl?
No, I haven't.
It's a really popular series. There's like 7 or 8 books in the series now, but it's like really popular. But he recently wrote a book that's a standalone called Operation Bounce House, and the kind of the basis of the story is that there's this planet called New Sonora, which is like it's a colonization, right? So the Earth sent ships there hundreds of years ago that were gigantic, thousands of people on them, and it took them a long time to get there. So like people were born and died on these ships, right? Or maybe weren't born and died, but like people were born on those ships, and then they didn't get to New Sonora until they were like adults, right? And so, but basically what they said was, once you get to this place, you're your own place. Like Earth doesn't have anything to do with you, right? So a couple of generations go by, and then there's this guy Oliver, who is a drummer, which I really liked. But he is on this farm, right, that he lives on, that he tills, and he works with an AI robot, and there's like honeybees, which are just robots that kind of help, do the farming stuff. And all of a sudden there's this gigantic mech, right, that is killing people and destroying the area. And he finds out that there's this company called, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's this company that has sent this mech, and they're going to be sending a ton more. And these mechs are controlled, and this is from Earth, are controlled from kids that are playing a video game, right? So they're playing a video game, and it's like this military action that they're going to, help rid this planet of all these terrible people and terrible things. And so they're playing a video game, literally murdering people, and they think they're doing it for the greater good. And so Oliver and his friends have to kind of fight against that. It's a lot of fun. It's like
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Matt Dinniman, he writes very funny, but then there's like very intense moments.
Is it long?
No, it's not super long. It's like 400 something pages, I think, but it's like quick. It's like, yeah, you should check it out. I had a ton of fun. I've had a ton of fun with it. I've been reading. So I finished that one. I've been reading a lot. I've been reading like 5 to 6 books a month. Wow. But then there's another book that I'm.
6. Yeah, that's impressive, bro.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. But then I'm also reading right now this book called Jade City, which is super cool, man. It's like a urban fantasy. So it's like a fantasy setting, but it takes place in like basically now, right? And what's cool about this book is that the fantasy stuff is much more on the back burner. And so basically you follow this family, the Calls, who they live in this place called Janloon, which is in this place called Kekon. I'm really bad with the names, but it's basically kind of like a Japanese inspired world, really, like Japanese inspired island, right? That they live on. And they are basically like the mafia. Okay. So there's like 2 different mafia groups that control this island, basically. Right. And so this family that you're following controls one of these groups. And what they control and the thing that makes them money is this stuff called Jade. So Jade basically turns only a specific group of people into basically superheroes. It gives them like they can be super fast. They can like, shoot like blasts out of their hands. But there's only a certain group of people that can do it, like a certain race. Right. But basically the book kind of follows this family and the politicking and the warring with this other faction. It is so good, man. Like the fantasy stuff kind of takes a second place to like the family drama, and it's like, dude, it's so good, man. And the writing is just super easy to read. I've really been enjoying it. It's a 3-book series. I already bought the second book because I know that I'm going to finish it. It's really, really good. But the next book, and I'm excited, but I'm nervous about it, that I'm going to read is The Count of Monte Cristo. So it's going to be my first ever classic book. But this book is very long. It's 1,300 pages. And it's huge, man. But from what I have seen, people say that it is very easy to read. Like the way that it was written apparently was when it came out, it was a serial. So it came out in the newspaper once a month or something, once a week. And so each chapter was kind of ends and it makes you want to continue. And so it's like people say it's very long, but a lot of people say it's the best book ever written, which I'm excited to read. And they say it's really easy to read. Like, yes, it's a classic, but it's very easy to just kind of keep going. And so, but that's going to be the next book that I read after I finish. Cause I'm like 20, 30% of Lord of the Rings left. And then I'm just going to read that. It's going to take a while. I'm considering maybe doing audiobook too. And just like when I'm on a run or doing the dishes, I can listen to part of it and then, just to get through it a little bit faster. But yeah. And then I have other books that I've already bought. I'm not going to be able to get to for a while, but dude, it's been like reading. I'm sure you can kind of tell, like, dude, it's just been so awesome, man, because like, just think about it, man. There's so like the amount of books that are out there, you know, like there's so many stories, like I'll never run out, and like, that is just exciting. And, yeah, dude, I've really, really been enjoying it a ton.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your channel now. It's so cool to see, man. It's really cool to see how well the Lord of the Rings videos did as well, dude. That's so sick.
Yeah, that's been crazy, man. People have been super supportive, but like I was really cool. The last video that I uploaded had nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. It was just about the books that I read. And like, it's not like I'm getting a zillion views, but like the fact that a few thousand people watched that video is so cool to me. Like, it's so cool to me. It's just been so much fun, man. Like the community, booktube, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but like Bookstagram, like the people have been so supportive and it's just been so much fun, man. Like, yeah, I really feel like I found a very cool community. And people are just super supportive and they excited for me. And so it's been nice, man.
That's so sick, dude.
I encourage, if you're watching this and I'll never be a reader, give it a shot, man. I'm telling you.
Do you think you're going to read A Song of Ice and Fire? Because
I think I want to, like, because I watched Game of Thrones, but I don't think I've watched all of it. Like, I remember being disappointed about the ending and being like, that sucked, right?
Ooh,
but I don't think what?
Have you watched the Duncan Egg show?
Yes. Oh my god, dude, it's so freaking good.
Peak,
dude, the books I've read like portions of it because they're short. They're just like the show.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like, dude. But yeah, that show, you know, that one episode that was hard for me to watch. That was like literally towards after it was over, I just like sat there and I was just like,
so good, bro.
what the heck just happened? But yeah, I do think I want to read that just because everyone that has read it is like, it's so good. And yes, it's not finished, but they're like, it's incredible. Like, and so but again, it's like there's so many books I want to read, you know, and like there's other series that I already bought like the first book and I want to read, but they're like 7 books long, and it's like, so we'll see. But yeah.
And if you do read them, you will unfortunately join the group of people that are like deeply frustrated with George R. R. Martin for never finishing the book. Like I have messages with friends from like 2014 where we're like, George put this on his blog. Surely this means the book's coming out at this point of this year. And it's like fucking 12 years later. It's been 15 years since his last book. Well, since his last book in that series. It's insane. Hopefully it's soon. There was a line in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms where it's like something about finishing the story, and I'm like, hopefully that's a sign, man. We'll take anything at this point. But yeah,
you're like, was it Charlie Day with all the red? Like,
yeah, literally, dude. Maybe this is a difficult question, but like, do you have like a story? Doesn't even need to be a book. It can be a movie, because I have a story that isn't a book. But do you have a story that you would like objectively say best story ever written or made?
Yeah, that's a good, I don't know, man. I think that I can say, like, for me, the show that I was the most locked in on, that I enjoyed a ton, was probably Dexter.
Yeah.
Like, in like the first few seasons, the last season I didn't love, but like when that show was on, like, you know, was pumping, that show, I was like, it was just so much fun for me to watch.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I guess, like, you know, Breaking Bad was incredible as well, you know, and like,
really good show.
And I mean, sadly, you know, Game of Thrones was there until it wasn't,
was.
you know, like it just,
those first 4 seasons, man.
Yeah.
Up there. Really good. Yeah. For me, can you guess what I'd say?
Let me think. Was it a Pokemon show?
No, it's I would say the greatest piece of fiction ever conceived is Attack on Titan. Cannot.
That one is very good, dude.
Have you watched it start to finish?
Yes.
I just cannot think there's I don't think there's anything out there that connects so well.
Yeah.
Like from start to finish, everything connects. There's no show in existence with rewatchability as good as that show, because of how good the story is written, in my opinion.
Yeah. I haven't rewatched it, but like that was one that me and Amanda watched together, and we both after we finished it, we both went and got Attack on Titan shirts. Like we were just like, we're about it. Like, we both enjoyed it so much. Like that's like I think that's the only anime that we like started and like really actually went through the whole thing. There's been tons that we've like started, unless they're like really short, that we kind of just fell off of, you know? But Attack on Titan, we were both like, because we watched it, like we didn't start watching it until it was like basically the last season was about to come out. You know what I mean? And so we just watched it all the way through basically. And we were both like, yeah.
I think it emotionally resonates with me so much because like Attack on Titan was the first. Well, I mean, I grew up with like animes without realizing that they're anime, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, stuff like that. But like Attack on Titan was the first anime I watched where I was like, this is anime. Like I know what I'm watching. And I watched it as the first season came out in 2013, 14. And I remember there was a 3-year wait. We had to wait 3 years for season 2 because they were like, we're going to take a pause on the show to allow the manga to go further so we can make it just as pinpoint to the story as possible. And then from 2017 onwards, it was just like fucking every year a new season, and it was like better and better and better. And it's like some of the reveals, like I don't want to spoil anything, of course, but like the in season 2 with a certain reveal of 2 people, like
dude, we were watching that, and I was like,
Did he just?
Like, because I was like talking when
Yeah. I know what you mean.
the person said what they said, and then she was like, "Wait, did he just say that?" And I was like, "What?" And I rewinded. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
it's like one of my favorite things ever, man.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when you get the review, like, oh, there can't be another reveal like that. There's like 50 more. There's like 50 more reveals, and they're all bigger than the next one. It's crazy. And I think what's like amazing is like one of the final episodes. It's like called "To You 1,000 Years Ago," and then hold on, let me first episode of Attack on Titan name. To you in. I'm trying to find. Yeah, so episode 1 of Attack on Titan is called "To You 2,000 Years Later." Episode 80 is "From You 2,000 Years Later," and episode 1 connects to episode 80, and it's like I've never seen writing that to plan 80 episodes ahead. It's like obviously there have been authors that have done that sort of thing, of course, but it's like it almost felt like every single thing was planned start to finish, and that's very rare. Like I don't even think Game of Thrones has that. Clearly they did. I don't think he at least maybe he does now, but I don't think for a very long time he knew his ending. I think J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter about 3 books in kind of worked out what the ending's going to be, but even then it wasn't from the very beginning. And there's lots of very obvious points in that. I just think it's so fucking good. And I think the problem is when you watch Attack on Titan, there's no other anime that can compare. And it's like, you almost feel like, what do I even watch now? Like Death Note is amazing and stuff like that. I've watched a lot of anime, like every single major one you can think of. Jujutsu Kaisen's great. Hunter x Hunter's great. I'm a big anime guy, but like nothing's ever compared to that. And I went to the orchestra last year for Attack on Titan, and it was like the best live experience I've ever had. Every single song played, and it was like, bro, it was so good. Like I've never been to an orchestra before, and Attack on Titan, I also think has the best music.
Sick.
Like the music for that show is crazy. I don't know what they were making when they made that show. They were just fucking cooking 10 out of 10 every time.
Yeah, I would say, I think like as far as my favorite story, and I realize now that apparently this is a book that's like very popular in BookTube. But when I read it, I just read it because one of my closest friends was like, "You need to read this book." This is before I watched any sort of, videos on BookTube and stuff. But it's called The Sword of Kaigen. And bro, you should. I've a big
seen the
book.
cover before. It's
a big book. It's not huge. It's not like thousands of pages or anything like that, but it's a chunky book, and it definitely is one that you have to you just got to go with it. It takes a while to get started. It's definitely not super fast paced, but man, that story it's beautiful, dude. Like that is that book, because I listened to the audiobook. This is before I was like reading. This is when I was just like listening to audiobooks, which is reading. I'm not saying it's not, but like that story, bro, made me feel things that I have never felt still from a book, and maybe, and I'm not even saying, I'm sure it will happen again, because I'm still very early on, and I'm sure there'll be times, but like, man, I just remember being like just devastated
Really?
not in a good way, but like in a way that it was like, man, I care so much about the stuff that's going on in this book that it made me feel a way that I've never felt from definitely a book. Movies have made me feel certain ways and stuff, like a book where I'm not even seeing anything, right? When at the time I was just listening, I was like, whoa, it was, I highly recommend anyone that, if you are interested in fantasy books at all, or even if you kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, that kind of magic.
Second favorite show of all time.
It is incredible. Incredible.
I'm going to have to check this out. It sounds fucking awesome, man. Dude. Yeah, no, I'll definitely give that a look. And I can see like the ratings on my screen right now. It's like all the highest.
And it's nice because it's a standalone. So
has it been adapted yet?
No, I'm not sure if it ever will. Like, apparently, I don't know what happened with like Emma Wong, who is the author. Because like it says on the title, like a Theonite war story. So you think that there's going to be like more stories in this thing. But like when you open the book, it says basically I was planning on doing more with this world, but it's on hiatus. So I don't think there will ever be anything more. And I think it's a self-published book.
Wow,
and so
really?
I don't, yeah, like, so you can't really find, you can't find it in like Barnes and Noble or whatever the popular bookstore at you have to kind of order it yourself. At least maybe it's different now, but Amanda got it for me for Valentine's Day, even though I'm, I've already listened to it, but I like, that's when I'm considering like rereading, just because it's been a while, so it'd be kind of cool. But the story of that is, it's just so much. Again, there is definitely a lot of magic, and that takes place, and it's important, but like the family dynamic is so much more to that story, and it's no joke, man.
Do you find with reading, like, is it like a different experience between listening and reading? Because
for me, yes.
Same.
So like, I love listening to audiobooks. I still do, like the Dungeon Crawl Carl ones I was telling you about. You should just listen to one of them, bro.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's so much. Well, just because the way that the Jeff Hayes, who's the narrator, he does such a fantastic job. It's like, I've never heard another audiobook like this with one narrator. Like, there's tons of audiobooks where it's like multiple, it's a whole cast, and that's incredible in its own right. But like, the fact that he's doing he's just really good. But the premise is fun. But I definitely can daydream a little too much when I'm listening to audiobooks. So that's why I have to be doing something monotonous. So like, even the gym, sometimes I can do it, but a lot of times I can't. So it's either I'm only doing cardio, so maybe on the stairs, or going on a run. Those work because there's nothing else for me to think about.
Running is really good for audio.
Or dishes. That's the other one that I can just like, or like cleaning, right? But even that is a little difficult. Like dishes, it's one thing, you're just in one spot. But like reading, like actual reading a book, I can notice when I start drifting much quicker than when I'm listening to an audiobook. Because when I'm listening to an audiobook, I can drift, and it can be like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I don't remember anything. But if I'm reading, it'll be like maybe half a page, and I'm like, what just happened? So it's easier for me to self-correct, I guess.
Yeah. And I also think when it comes to reading, it's like, it's the only thing you're doing in that moment, because you can't really do anything else. You're like locked in, and you almost like, I feel like when you pick up a book, you're dedicating the next hour, 30 minutes of your time just to this thing. Whereas when you're listening, now I'm not saying everyone else does this, but for me, when I listen, I'm usually doing it as aside to what I'm currently
kind of
doing.
A distraction.
Like, I'm gonna, as you said, go for a run, and it does work, but I probably am not absorbing the story that the author would really want me to, in the way that they would want me to. Whereas when I'm reading a book, I think there's a reason that I get through books so easily when I actually do go to read them. It's because like I get so engrossed in the fact that this is the only thing I'm doing, and therefore I'm consuming it much better. Whereas it does take me a while to get through audiobooks, got to pause them here and there, come back to them and stuff like that. Whereas with a book, it's like, if I pick up a book, I'm going to finish it in a couple of days. Like, I'm very good at reading when I actually set my mind to it. Whereas audiobooks, as I said, it's like, it's like a side thing. Like, it's like a supplement to what I'm currently doing. Which I don't think literature should be consumed in that way. I'm not saying to not listen to audiobooks. I'm saying I don't think it's good to read a book and listen to a book as a distraction. I think you should sit down and listen or read, or just not be distracted, is what I'm saying. It's like, you wouldn't play. Actually, I was chatting shit. I was about to say you wouldn't play a video game whilst watching a TV show. I've done that multiple times.
I was gonna say, I know you do that.
But you shouldn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to get the ultimate experience.
I think the more than anything, it just, you have to know yourself, right? Like, if you think that you can do it and like that you won't be distracted, then I think that's fine. But if you just have to be honest with yourself, and like, that's, there's times when I will be listening to an audiobook and I realize I haven't really like listened for a while, and I'll just be like, okay, well, I have to go back 10 minutes. And like, sometimes it's annoying because it's like, man, I just want to finish it, but it's like, do you want to finish it and have no idea what's going on, and so like, everyone's different. And like, I really think the audiobooks are such a great way to, like, for me at least, I can only speak for myself, but it really was the gateway for me. There was a lot that went into me actually starting reading and like being consistent with it, but like audiobooks really were a big part of it, because it showed me, man, there are so many stories that are out there that like, holy crap, they are just so good, you know?
Yeah.
And like one of those is Project Hail Mary, which is, I can't wait for that movie to come out, man. I'm so excited for it. But like the audiobook of that was so good. And I really don't think I would have been able to read that book, like physically read it with my eyes, just because of how the book is. But the audiobook made me able to consume that content, right? And so it just depends, you know, it really just depends.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think it's different for different people as well. Like I get distracted very easy, but I do think like, where do you have the ultimate film experience? In a cinema where there's no distractions, where you're there to watch the movie, right? Like I think a lot of people like will watch a film and they'll go into the cinema and they'll be like, wow, I really loved that movie. I really enjoyed it. And then they'll rewatch it 6 months later on their TV at home and they'll be like, that experience wasn't as good as the first time. And I think a lot of it comes down to, well, you probably weren't watching it in the same style as how you were watching it originally, where your only focus was watching the movie, consuming the art. Not to sound pretentious, but like you're consuming art. And I think you should give your full attention to that. Like if you can, of course, and not everyone has the time of the day to, but like if you want the whole experience, I think less distraction is the best way to go about it.
Especially for people like us, right? Because we both have ADD, ADHD. So like, you know, I think for us, it's like hard to even, you know, conceptualize not getting distracted by like the little, like just random things, you know, like I know that I'll have a random thought and then I'll just be like, pew! Like I just start thinking about it, you know, and then it's like 10 minutes later, I'm like, how did I get here?
Like, that's why, you know, the brick thing you told me to get, that's been fucking awesome. Every time I scan that shit, it's weird. It's like my brain becomes like, oh, we can do things now. It's so dumb. Have you still been using yours a lot recently?
Yeah.
I haven't been using it as much this month because it's like with a broken ankle and not being able to do anything. It's like, well, the only thing I can do is go on my phone, fucking really. But the more I've gotten better with walking around and stuff, it's the more I've been using it. And it's like every time I use it, it's like I just feel so much more like not better, but like almost like I can do more. It's like it's weird. I feel like my phone almost like disables my brain in a way of like not being able to function correctly because it's so distracted consistently. Like playing video games when it's on, it's like great. Like I got through Skyrim. I finally completed Skyrim. I not just completed the main story. Thank you. I completed the main story, every single major quest, a load of side quests, every single DLC. Like I completed Skyrim, like to the best you possibly can. And a lot of that comes from just like not going on my phone, sat on my chair with big TV in front of me and just playing it and like enjoying the game for what it is. And it's like, I think it's very easy to, as I said earlier, like play a game whilst watching a TV show. It's like, well, you're not really going to enjoy the actual experience. Now, if you're playing like an MMO where you're skilling and stuff, that makes sense to watch TV because nobody wants to fucking skill without anything on the side. But if you're playing a story game where it demands your attention, or a book or a TV show, it's if there's any advice I can give, which is so obvious, it's just like put the phone down because you will have such a better, not just there though, with life in general. I feel like it's crazy how much the phone truly is a source to so many problems. Like so many.
Yep.
Yeah. But do you know what? I think that is the longest podcast we've ever done.
Yeah. 2.5 hours. Yep.
Have we done a 2.5? I don't think we have done.
We might have. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let me see. The longest we've done is 2 hours and 19 minutes about Amberlyn Reed. And we did not have a single mention of her, I think, today until that very. Actually, no, I briefly mentioned her earlier, but yeah, we don't need to go into fucking Amberlyn Reed. I have no idea what she's been up to recently. I don't know if you do.
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly, man. But yeah, should we wrap things up there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, we still spoke about YouTube stuff, but I feel like
we did.
I feel like we've almost felt like more relaxed in just talking about literally fucking anything. But yeah, let us know your thoughts down below. Also, like, leave if you have gotten to this moment, just leave some questions down below for the next episode if you want to get involved. I'm probably going to start posting on the community page more, just to try and, like, get people more involved and build some form of community. I was debating on making us like an Instagram, maybe for like, I don't know, for like maybe some clips, but it's just like it is just extra effort.
It's just another, exactly.
So probably not. I think if you want more updates, we'll stick to the community page. I think that's a good place to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything you want to say before we head off?
Read Sword of Kaigen. That's to you and everyone else.
I'll try. Oh,
Bandit.
Bandit. First time this episode. How are they getting on?
He's good. Watch. He's probably gonna bite me in a second because he's probably up here because he wants to play. So
yeah, you've been ignoring him for almost 3 hours.
I know. He's like, brother, come on, let's get it together. I'm ready.
I'm surprised Kenji hasn't come in this whole episode. I don't know. That's not a good sign. When Kenji hasn't come in, I'm worried that he's done something.
He's being a bad boy.
Yeah. When he does want my attention, sometimes he'll do this thing of where he'll like try and find some like rubbish that may be laying around. He'll pick it up, walk into the room that I'm in, and just stare at me whilst holding it in his mouth. And I'm like, you little shit. Because I know what he wants me to do. He wants me to go after him and take it out of his mouth. But I just refuse at this point.
He's kind of scaring me. He's crawling around things he shouldn't be.
Is he gonna
come on, get down there. You're gonna electrocute yourself, brother.
So cute.
My cable management is not very good, so there's a lot of things I can trip on.
Mine is a shit all over the place. All right, we'll end it there, people. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week. I think I'll try my best really, because it's usually on me. Monday, we record on Mondays, right? That's the agreed day we have. Yeah. Post on Tuesdays. We'll try. This will come out tomorrow night, which will be a Tuesday. We'll try our best.
I mean, it's technically Tuesday for you already, right? But
Tuesday morning.
It's
Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
It's 1:30 in the morning. I need to go to bed. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.